you are here today. I am Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of your personal needs. During the live event, you have 2 sessions to choose from for each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting, you should receive a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Did you know in Edge, you can open up files or tabs from another device? Simply click on the 3 dots, select History, and you can see the recently closed, and you can also see that you have tabs from other devices. Select that one. I have 3 devices to choose from. I'm going to select my laptop. And on my laptop, you can see all the tabs that I have open. And I'm going to look for the game that I want to share with my students on my panel. And select it. So now I've created a file on one device and opened it on the other.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here. I'm Ryan, and this is Tamara.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions to choose from each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link that you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you'll have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit even if you're watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to ensure that your email is typed correctly.
We, along with the entire EdTech team, would like to thank you for joining us today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon. In my classroom, I have a laptop and a panel with a computer on board. That is so awesome. When I want to share a file from my laptop to my computer on my panel, all I have to do in the address bar is select this little share icon. Then I'm going to send it to my panel, which is another device. Select that device, and you can see up here that it's sending. Now on my other device, I'm going to open in a new tab. So I select open in a new tab. And you can see that my file is now loaded onto my other computer or my other device.
My favorite thing about EdTech Live is PD in your PJs. I have a master's degree in educational technology, but I still attend every session. I really enjoy it and I love the presenters.
Hi, did you know that you can change the language in Schoology? It's as simple as this. Go to Schoology, scroll all the way down until you get to language. Right now it's in English. When you click on English, you can see the different languages that you can choose. This is a great way to translate the information in Schoology.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here today. I am Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of your personal needs. During the live event, you have 2 sessions to choose from for each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting, you should receive a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Did you know in Edge, you can open up files or tabs from another device? Simply click on the three dots, select History, and you can see the recently closed, and you can also see that you have tabs from other devices. Select that one. I have 3 devices to choose from. I'm going to select my laptop. And on my laptop, you can see all the tabs that I have open. And I'm going to look for the game that I want to share with my students on my panel and select it. So now I've created a file on one device and opened it on the other.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here. I'm Ryan, and this is Tamara.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions to choose from each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link that you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you'll have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit even if you're watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to ensure that your email is typed correctly.
We, along with the entire EdTech team, would like to thank you for joining us today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon. classroom, I have a laptop and a panel with a computer on board. That is so awesome. When I want to share a file from my laptop to my computer on my panel, all I have to do in the address bar is select this little share icon. Then I'm going to send it to my panel, which is another device. Select that device, and you can see up here that it's sending. Now on my other device, I'm going to open in a new tab. So I select open in a new tab. And you can see that my file is now loaded onto my other computer or my other device.
My favorite thing about EdTech Live is PD in your PJs. I have a master's degree in educational technology, but I still attend every session. I really enjoy it and I love the presenters.
Hi, did you know that you can change the language in Schoology? It's as simple as this. Go to Schoology, scroll all the way down until you get to language. Right now it's in English. When you click on English, you can see the different languages that you can choose. This is a great way to translate the information in Schoology.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here today. I am Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of your personal needs. During the live event, you have 2 sessions to choose from for each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting, you should receive a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Did you know in Edge you can open up files or tabs from another device? Simply click on the three dots, select History, and you can see the recently closed, and you can also see that you have tabs from other devices. Select that one. I have 3 devices to choose from. I'm going to select my laptop. And on my laptop you can see all the tabs that I have open, and I'm going to look for the game that I want to share with my students on my panel and select it. So now I've created a file on one device and opened it on the other.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here. I'm Ryan, and this is Tamara.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions to choose from each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link that you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you'll have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit even if you're watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to ensure that your email is typed correctly.
We, along with the entire EdTech team, would like to thank you for joining us today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon. In my classroom, I have a laptop and a panel with a computer on board. That is so awesome. When I want to share a file from my laptop to my computer on my panel, all I have to do in the address bar is select this little share icon. Then I'm going to send it to my panel, which is another device. Select that device, and you can see up here that it's sending. Now on my other device, I'm going to open in a new tab. So I select open in a new tab. And you can see that my file is now loaded onto my other computer or my other device.
My favorite thing about EdTech Live is PD in your PJs. I have a master's degree in educational technology, but I still attend every session. I really enjoy it and I love the presenters.
Hi, did you know that you can change the language in Schoology? It's as simple as this. Go to Schoology, scroll all the way down until you get to language. Right now it's in English. When you click on English, you can see the different languages that you can choose. This is a great way to translate the information in Schoology.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here today. I am Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of your personal needs. During the live event, you have 2 sessions to choose from for each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting, you should receive a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Did you know in Edge, you can open up files or tabs from another device? Simply click on the 3 dots, select History, and you can see the recently closed, and you can also see that you have tabs from other devices. Select that one. I have 3 devices to choose from. I'm going to select my laptop. And on my laptop, you can see all the tabs that I have open. And I'm going to look for the game that I want to share with my students on my panel and select it. So now I've created a file on one device and opened it on the other.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here. I'm Ryan, and this is Tamara.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions to choose from each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link that you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you'll have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit even if you're watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to ensure that your email is typed correctly.
We, along with the entire EdTech team, would like to thank you for joining us today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon. In my classroom, I have a laptop and a panel with a computer on board. That is so awesome. When I want to share a file from my laptop to my computer on my panel, all I have to do in the address bar is select this little share icon. Then I'm going to send it to my panel, which is another device. Select that device, and you can see up here that it's sending. Now on my other device, I'm going to open in a new tab. So I select open in a new tab. And you can see that my file is now loaded onto my other computer or my other device.
My favorite thing about EdTech Live is PD in your PJs. I have a master's degree in educational technology, but I still attend every session. I really enjoy it and I love the presenters.
Hi, did you know that you can change the language in Schoology? It's as simple as this. Go to Schoology, scroll all the way down until you get to language. Right now it's in English. When you click on English, you can see the different languages that you can choose. This is a great way to translate the information in Schoology.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here today. I am Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment to welcome you to today's sessions and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of your personal needs. During the live event, you have 2 sessions to choose from for each hour. after the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting, you should receive a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Did you know in Edge, you can open up files or tabs from another device? Simply click on the three dots, select History, and you can see the recently closed, and you can also see that you have tabs from other devices. Select that one. I have 3 devices to choose from. I'm going to select my laptop. And on my laptop, you can see all the tabs that I have open. And I'm going to look for the game that I want to share with my students on my panel and select it. So now I've created a file on one device and opened it on the other.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We are happy that you are here. I'm Ryan, and this is Tamara.
We'd like to take a moment to welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start each hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions that you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions to choose from each hour. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link that you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code into the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you'll have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit even if you're watching after the live event.
There you go. Hey, everyone. Welcome to EdTech Live. So glad that you are here hanging out with us on this beautiful Saturday morning. We want to do this. We know that EdTech Live is so valuable, and we're going to talk about some really great things. But we also want to get outside, too. So it's really great that we're able to record this and do all that good stuff. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing really quickly here. Hey, I just want to say hi to you guys. If you would, in the chat, I'm kind of monitoring the chat, have a couple of different things going on. If you would let us know where you're from and let us know that, what campus you're from, and we can go ahead and just kind of start kicking in from here. All right. Just a couple of things before we get started. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. I'm going to be talking about AI today, and really excited about that. Just a couple of things that I want to share before I do that. There are some things that I need to tell you, and one of those is, I'm going to go ahead and bring up this screen for you, is we have, let's see, trying to share here. If you are watching and you want to do some of the things that maybe we're sharing, although my presentation is really not going to be like, hey, follow along and do this with me. But if you wanted to do some of that a little bit later on your Windows device, one of the things that you can do is hit the Windows key and then left and right, and that will send the picture over to the right or to the left, and then you can work on the left-hand side of that. And so really good for that. I see people sharing out. Hey, Roe, see it here in the house. Goodson, Cypress Woods, Dean, Carlton Center, Wells, Cy-Fair High School, Carlton Center, people from out of state. All right, hanging out with us today. Cy Lakes, Truett. So glad that you guys are hanging out with us. All right, let's see here. It is 9 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing and start going and get this going here. Today's session that I'm going to share with you is CFISD and AI, how to team up with your new teaching assistant. One of the things about this session, and I'm glad to be able to share it with you, I was supposed to deliver this one on PD week. So for those of you that are not in Cy-Fair, we have a week-long PD at the very beginning, and I got sick after I did it one time. So a fifth of all the teachers in Cy-Fair were able to see this. And, there you go. To start out, I want to ask you a question. When you think about AI, what's one word that comes to mind that, about AI? Throw that in the chat really quickly. And I just want to kind of see where we're at with it. When you think about AI, where are you at? And as you're doing that, I just want to share. See a lot of other people. Bain is in the house. McPhee is in the house. My name is Todd Sepulveda. I am the Director of Instructional Technology and Library Services. I love this job. I have a great team. This is the team here. I got to tell you that they work really hard for Cy-Fair teachers. They do a lot of the training. I left the office last night. It was a Friday evening at 5:44, and we still had our team members were still there, finishing up things, getting things ready for EdTech Live. And so I'm really proud of the work that we do, not only with the virtual things that we do like DLC and DLC and EdTech Live, but we also put on the Student EdTech Expo. The librarians are under our department, the technology liaison. So every campus in Cy-Fair has a technology liaison. My team does all of this, but they also work with the content teams. They're also, with kind of like connected to one of the content teams. And they just do a really, really great job of doing it all, pulling it all together. Really proud of them. We do a lot of training. We do a lot of in-person training, a lot of virtual training, and we have a lot of on-demand training. If you are on a Cy-Fair device and you have the CFISD bookmark on the top left-hand corner of your bookmark bar, if you haven't taken that off, if you hit the CFISD bookmarks and you go down to the very bottom, that's how you can get to our website. And on our website, we have a bunch of great things there, the trainings, information, and you can just link to everything that we're doing there. All right, I'm going to, I want to come back. I'm going to stop sharing here. I want to look and see what people are saying here. When we think about AI, people are saying Okay, it was supposed to be one word, but that's okay. We'll go make life easy. All right, Marcus, got that? Time saving, artificial intelligence. Let me see here. Robots taking over the world. Hey, there's a lot of people that have that fear, right? That's legitimate when we're thinking about that. Helpful as an assistant, useful, easy and useful. Right on, man. There's a lot there, and it encompasses a lot. For the most part, when we're talking about AI, it's pretty new here, although it seems to have been in the news a lot lately. It's still kind of new. So things that we're going to talk about today in this PD, and I'm going to go very, very fast. Good thing that this is recorded because I want to share a lot of information with you, but I'm going to give you some really good stuff here. So I'm going to introduce AI to you in education. We're going to show, and there's no reason why these words are white and yellow. I just did that to differentiate. I'm going to show how useful AI can be to educators. We're going to discuss student use. And then I am going to give you at the very end, stick with me guys, I am going to give you a very big resource about all AI. It's a wakelet that I am consistently pouring things into it. You're going to love it. You can kind of go down the rabbit hole if you want to do that. Okay. Before we move any further, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to ChatGPT and let's have a little bit of fun. Okay. So I need this Zoom bar to go down a little bit, but let me see. I'm going to make my screen. No, that didn't work. All right, let's see if we can do this, and maybe that bar will. I'm actually going to move it to the top. How about that? All right, so let's do this. Let's write a letter. Write a permission. I can spell letter to parents about our field trip to the sugar factory on October 28th, 2023. We are leaving the campus at 8:15, and we will be back at 2:45 p.m. Let's see what ChatGPT does. Look at this. Can you look how easy this is? This is so crazy, right? Your school letterhead, it even tells you, put it on your school letterhead, right? Dear date, you put the date in there. Dear parents, permission for field trip to sugar factory. We hope this letter finds you in good health and high spirits. We are excited to inform you that our school has organized a fascinating and educational field trip to the sugar factory, right? All that good stuff. It gives us the date, the time, all that. During the field trip, students will have the opportunity to learn about sugar production. See, we didn't talk about that at all in the prompt. Just ChatGPT is realizing that, hey, this is some stuff that probably parents want to know. The great thing about this is that you can take this and you can refine it and make it whatever you need it to be. You know, take some of this stuff out if you want to. Our school staff and chaperones will be supervising the students at all times. I mean, it throws everything in there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a new chat here. Let's do this, right? Give me a lesson on the life cycle of a chicken. For fifth grade. Now in Cypher, this is first grade, right? For fifth grade, make it interactive. It should have a writing component. So all of our language arts and writing teachers would love that. It should last 55 minutes. And, provide some time frame for each component. Let's see what it does. Exploring the life of a chicken egg. So it gives me all the, the objectives are here. Now, if I knew the standard, I could throw the standard in there. Students will learn about the life cycle of a chicken egg through interactive activities. Students will write a short paragraph summarizing the key stages, materials needed. Look at this. Look how much it gives to you. The lesson plan, 5 minutes. Begin by showing a picture of a diagram of a chicken. All, the stage one, the egg, incubation, hatching. It gives you all the information that you need, the conclusion. Well, what about an independent activity? I mean, come on, can you say what, right? What? Give me a comment in the chat, in the YouTube chat about, hey, like, what in the world? Like, that's so cool, right? Invite a few students to read their paragraphs out loud. Assessment, here you go. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. What about we want to differentiate? So I have some advanced students in my class. What activity can I give them to extend the lesson? So it's thinking, right? To challenge your advanced students and extend the lesson on the life cycle of a chicken egg, you can assign them a research-based or creative project that delves deeper into the topic. Here's an advanced activity you can offer. This is absolutely crazy, right? People are saying, wow, right? It's a rough draft. You're right. Whoever said that. Maddie said it's a rough draft. You're right. We're not going to take anything that we do in AI. We're not going to take this and go throw it into whatever we're doing. This is a rough draft. It gives us great ideas. It gives us a great starting point. How many times as a teacher, as an educator, have you been in your classroom? It's like, I just don't know where to go next, right? I don't know the next activity. I'm kind of just, I'm dry. I can't think. I've got so many things going on. And this is a great starting point for this. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to move forward here. AI is not new, and we got to understand this. I'm going to bring my Zoom thing here. The reason we're talking more about AI right now is because of the large language models. And so we've got ChatGPT out there. You hear a lot of ChatGPT. You hear a lot about Google Bard. One of the things, if you have not heard about Claude, I'm going to share Claude with you. It's not new. It's been out for a couple of months, but a lot of people don't know about it. And it can do some really cool things that I'm going to share with you here in just a minute. I'm going to give you some examples of it. So AI is absolutely not new, and we need to understand that, right? So we are hearing a lot about it because of the large language models. Now, AI has been around for a long time. We have our search engines that will go ahead and allow you to search and give you search whatever you're searching for, right? It gives you back whatever you're looking for. The thing is that I could sit right next to you and we could search for the very same thing. But if we're in Google is going to give you something very different that is going to give me. Now, the top couple of ones might be the same because, there's people out there that look at search engine optimization and they optimize their stuff. There's going to be the ads that are going to be at the top. But Google looks at your cookies. It looks at your cache. It looks at the things that you have searched for before. So if you're logged in, it knows what you're searching for. It knows what I'm searching for. So it's going to give me things that are relevant to me. If I search for the outdoors and I might be into hiking, it's going to give me things that are relevant to hiking. If you search for the outdoors, but you're into white river rafting, right? It's going to give you things that are more apt to that. So that's the AI in the background that is doing that. And all of the search engines do that. There's probably one left that is a true search engine. It's called Mojix. And it's probably one of the last true search engines. They all kind of do this to a point, even DuckDuckGo and Brave, and they all do that. We know that AI is there when we're talking about social media. How many times have you been on Facebook? All right, I'm like Indiana Jones. I don't like snakes, so I click on for whatever reason. I was a video of a snake came up. And I was, it showed it to me. And then all of a sudden I kept getting all these videos about snakes. I'm like, I don't like snakes. So I had to go watch videos about little cats and dogs and stuff to be able to get the snakes out of my feed. But that's the AI. It's behind the scenes. When we don't always see the same thing when we're in our social media, because social media thinks that you want to see the things, or they're going to feed you the things that they think you want to see. So if you're on Twitter and you're not seeing some of the things you want to see, like I get on Twitter, I want to learn. Sometimes all I see are, post from from EdTech, maybe I want to learn some other things. I click on leadership stuff, then it starts to give me leadership posts from people that are in leadership. So it's in social media, it's in our email. So there are rules that you can create, and that is the algorithms in the background that send things to different folders. We know that we have Google Assistant, we have Siri, we have Bixby, we have Alexa. How many times have you, has this ever kind of happened to you? You had Alexa there and you were talking to your spouse or talking to your kids and you asked them a question, and for whatever reason, Alexa kicks on or Siri kicks on or your Google Assistant kicks on, and that can get kind of scary, right? When people are talking about those things that are out there, like the bot's taking over. It's there, and so it knows what you're wanting. If you have any streaming services, you kick on streaming and there you go. You have it serves up what you want to see. I get into Disney and I want to watch Star Wars. It shows me Star Wars and it shows me, those types of things. I have Amazon Prime and it's going to show me the things that I want to see, right? I get to see war movies and Lord of the Rings and different things like that. My wife gets in there and she sees other things because it knows what she's clicking on. And then we go into fraud detection. If your bank knows when there's been some fraud, or even if they think there's some fraud. We were at a conference in Philadelphia this summer and I used Uber and all of a sudden I got a fraud alert. It's like, hey, there is a, your credit card was pinged in Philadelphia, through Uber. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm in Philadelphia. That makes sense. And I'm glad that's there because it's a help, it's a protection. But at the same time, there's not somebody there watching all my transactions. That is AI that has kicked that off and has sent it to somebody, and then they're calling me, right? So fraud protection is there. We have predictive text. How many times have you sent a text message and it was just on accident because it has that predictive text? Sometimes it's like, stop predicting for me. I want to just type it out. But we have that there. We have image recognition. I want to show this to you. And you know what? I'm going to have to reshare because I don't think I shared sound. So I'm going to share sound again. Let's see. And there you go. Hopefully that works. So this is a video that I created, and I'm just going to let this play. And I'm going to let the volume down just a little bit. This is Google Photos. I have a Pixel 6 phone. And so it gives me some extra things that maybe you don't, but you have the same thing. If you have Google Photos, you have this same thing. So it creates a movie, right? So I want to create a love story, me and my wife, and we're going to do that. So I click on that, and then it tells me, okay, who do I want to click on? So you can see all the pictures I take, it's all the team and people that are involved in EdTech and my family. So it is doing its thing, it's thinking. I cut it a little bit here just because I wanted to go ahead and make it a little faster for you. But then here it is. So it gets pictures that are from me and my wife, and it puts it together into a little video clip, and it puts us all together, puts some music in the background. This is AI, this is facial recognition that is going on. Again, a little scary, right? But it's there, and it's a really cool thing. I edited this with a lot of Christmas things. My wife likes Christmas, right? And so this cute little video that we created here just from AI and being able to do that. All right, let me see here. Smart home devices. We already talked a little bit about Alexa and the things that you have out there. So AI is not new. It is something that has been around for a long time, but we are talking about this now because of the large language models that we have here in that have come out, right? And the other thing, one of the other things we're talking about this in education, the thing that has really come up is because of student cheating. Now we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to give you some pointers and some things that I have found as with this conversation has come up. And really that was the first time we ever heard about it with teachers. It's like, oh my gosh, kids are cheating, or what are we going to do? And we got to turn this off. And I'll go into that a little bit more as we talk about that. But here's the thing. AI is very beneficial. The large language models that we have available to us are very beneficial to us. We can write emails with that. We can provide FAQs to ask questions. It can provide ideas and strategies for whatever it might be. I mean, I showed that to you just a little while ago, just with the lesson that we created on ChatGPT, and that's just the surface of that, right? It can provide feedback on writing. I'm going to show you a cool tool in just a minute. I'm going to use my my outline for this PD. I'm going to throw it in, and I'm going to show you some feedback that it gives me. It's a great idea generator. Can simplify answers, can proofread, can change the tone of a text. We were in a session with, I believe it was Kristen Matson, and she was telling us of a story where there was a teacher who was having to respond to her husband because of child support, and she had written this, this email or this letter, and it was really nasty, right? She threw it into ChatGPT. It's like, what's the tone? So she asked it, what's the tone of this letter or this email? And it was nasty, it was mean, it was that. And she's like, change the tone to be more professional. And so ChatGPT took that and made it a little bit more professional for her, so that she was able to, like, let's take the emotion out of it, because I want my spouse to go ahead and provide child support here and do what he needs to do. But that was very helpful. How many times do we send an email to a parent and maybe we're not sure what it sounds like, and we're able to go to ChatGPT or one of these large language models, like, hey, let me know what this tone is like. And so I can go ahead, or maybe you're sending an email to your principal, and maybe you are, or an administrator, and you are a little upset. And right before you push send, you're like, you know what? I just need to go ahead and check myself. I'm going to throw this into ChatGPT and see what kind of tone it is. And maybe ChatGPT can rewrite this for me. All right. So there's a lot of administrative uses for ChatGPT. The ideas are endless when you start really using it. There are a lot of benefits to the instruction. We can create lessons or activity ideas. I kind of showed that to you just a little while ago. I'm going to show you more of this. We can adjust a lesson for learning styles. What if you had a student that was, in your grade, whatever it might be, and they're working at a different grade level? Like, hey, I need to, use this. I need to differentiate for that child, right? I need to be able to explain this concept in a way that they're able to understand. We can personalize lessons. We can provide differentiated lessons for our students that are GT or in Horizons, or that are ESL, or that are, that are SPED, or whatever it might be. We can differentiate lessons for our students. We can provide text on a specific reading level. You can throw a passage in there that might be at a certain level and say, you know what, I have a student that's working at a different level. Can you rewrite this at a different Lexile level, or at a different grade level for my student to be able to use? Explain a concept. So you've been working with a student for all these years, or all this time, right? All these weeks, and you haven't been able to get through to them on a certain thing, like maybe division, right? How can I explain division? I can't, they just can't grasp it. Give me another way to teach this. I'm going to show you an example of this in a little bit. It can simplify these concepts for you. All right. So I want to do a little bit of some tactical stuff with you here in a minute. And here it is. I'm going to show you ChatGPT. All right, so let's do this. I am going to go to Discovery Education. All right, so I've got it open for you. Discovery Education is here. I pulled up a scene from Act 3 of Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 4. Now, with this, you can go ahead and download a document. So this is a really cool thing that you can do. There is a Chrome extension, and we have it available turned on. It is called Print Friendly, and you can use that in the Sci-Fair, right? So that is turned on. So I already downloaded this. I'm going to go to Claude. This is Claude, and you can sign in with you're going to really need to sign in with your own personal email, because I think what has happened at the beginning of the year, I was sharing this out with administrators, and we were able to get in, and then all of a sudden they started, when you sign in with your CFISD or your campus, your school email, I think it knows that, and so it tells you, hey, it's unresponsive right now. But when you sign in with your own personal, then it lets you go. So you see this little attachment here. I'm going to go ahead and attach. Let me see here. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Okay. So there you go, Discovery Education. Now I'm going to go ahead and say, write, look how cool this is. Write 10 questions based on this PDF. Right? Now, I'm not a big Shakespeare fan, but you know, what does Paulinus tell Gertrude to do when Hamlet arrives? How does Hamlet initially respond to Gertrude, saying he has offended his father? I mean, come on, right? All these questions here. What about this? I just don't want, I could have done like a true and false, but this is like open-ended. So let's do this. Give me a rubric to, let's do this. Make these questions open-ended. Okay, so it's giving me the same ones. Okay, so let's do this. Make sure these questions are for a 9th grade class. Okay, so now I'm getting some better questions here. A lot of the times it's all about the prompt, right? Give me a rubric to grade these open-ended questions. Here's a simple rubric. Now, you can make it more detailed. You can give it the what specifically you want of, you know, to be able to do that. Add grammar and punctuation to the rubric. All right, I want it, make it in a chart form. Make the root, oh, there it goes. It was thinking on me, thinking for me. All right. And so check this out. I mean, it is, you have this nice little rubric that it provides for you. You can copy that, throw it into Google Sheets, and you have a rubric. What about turn these questions into true to false? True or false? I mean, come on. Now, I mean, think about the time that saves you, being able to do something like that. That's pretty incredible there, right? All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and click on this A on the top because that allows me to start another one. I'm going to just, for those of you that maybe are math, create an 11th grade lesson on probability. Misspelled probability, but how about that? Fix that for me. That is pretty amazing when you do that, right? It is telling, it's giving me the introduction, examples, you know, basic probability rules. Help me explain this to a 7th, how about do this 4th grade student. So maybe you have someone working at a different grade level, right? And so it's giving you, it's making this differentiated for you, giving you ideas. How many times have you been stumped when you're trying to work with a student? Like, how can I help this student learn this concept? That's pretty crazy when you think about this, right? And the things here. You can ask them for different, give me 5 different activities to teach this. Okay, I'm having too much fun. I'm going to have to move on because it is like I can do a coin flip probability, spin the spinner, roll the dice, random name picker, deal the cards. It's pretty incredible, right? So you see what I'm talking about when I say that AI is very beneficial for you in helping you with instruction. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to move forward because I mentioned this already, but it's really all about the prompts. It's all about the prompts. The better the prompt, the better the output. And that's one of the things that students don't get just yet. But when they do, they're really going to blow things out of the water because the better the prompt. There's a big difference when you say, write me a paper on Romeo and Juliet. And then you say, as opposed to write me a paper on Romeo and Juliet from the point of view of Lord Capulet. Make it 4 paragraphs long, and write it at a 7th grade level. Boom. And that prompt is so much better. So when we talk about prompts, there is an acronym that we can use here. And this is not mine. This was developed by Foxville, Fitzpatrick, and Weinstein from the Prompt Engineering Framework. And the word prep, if we use the word prep, it will help us in forming really great prompts. So the P stands for prompt, of course, introduce the question with a prompt. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera here just so it won't hide any of these letters. Introduce the question with a prompt. Role, give the large language model a role or a voice. And that's something that I have not been doing when I've been doing the different examples for you. But I could say, I am a 5th grade teacher. I am an 11th grade. I teach biology. I teach algebra 2, right? I am a theater teacher. I'm a music teacher. You can do all of that, right? And give the large language model a role or a voice. Be very explicit on what you want the large language model to do. Be very explicit in your instructions and elaborate on exactly what you want. There are some parameters. Give it parameters. Let it know, hey, I have this amount of time frame, right? I have 30 minutes to teach this. I have 15 minutes to teach this. I want to be interactive. I want this to be virtual. I want the students to use their Chromebooks. I want the students to use the interactive flat panel in the front of the room. And so you can be very specific about what you're giving it and use all of that into a prompt, right? That will help you come up with better output from the large language models. And then when you get your output, then you want to use the acronym EDIT. And again, this comes from the Prompt Engineering Framework of Fox, Fitzpatrick, and Weinstein from the book, The AI Classroom. You can get that on Amazon. And you can follow Fitzpatrick on Twitter. I'll give you an easy link to get to him. But EDIT stands for evaluate the output for content, language, facts, and structure. Like I mentioned before, you never want to take the information that you have from the large language model, from Google, from Bard, from ChatGPT, and throw that right into whatever you're doing. You're going to want to evaluate it, determine the accuracy, and corroborate with the sources. I'm going to come right back here on the camera here. I want to share this with you. I do some things in preparedness, and I was looking for an article where someone was saved by using a survival whistle, right? So they had a whistle with them while they were hiking, they got lost, and then people were worried about them. They were going out and looking for them, but they were easily found because they had their survival whistle and they were blowing it. It saves energy, all that kind of, it's louder than anybody can scream and all that kind of stuff. So I put that into ChatGPT, and it gives me like, yeah, so-and-so was saved with, on this day at this park, because they had a whistle, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh man, that's really cool. So I grabbed that information, went to Google to go find this person, right? Or the news story, because I mean, that's a fascinating news story. It has to have something out there. So I go out there and find that, and it was completely false. The guy died. The guy was not saved by a survival whistle. And so if I would have used that information and someone would have fact checked me, I would have lost trust and credibility and all that kind of stuff. Because like Todd, you're seeing that this is possible and this happened and it didn't. There are some lawyers that got in trouble with that because they went to ChatGPT and asked them questions. They asked them for different laws and stuff, and they were able to use that in their arguments, and the judge found that that was not true. The arguments that they were using was not true. So you got to determine the accuracy and corroborate the sources there. Google has started doing that with Bard, and I'll show that to you in just a minute. Identify any biases or misinformation in the output, and then transform the content to reflect adjustments and new findings. There is, so in Google Bard, when we come over here and we give it something to do, so share, oh my gosh, so share how a student can use their Chromebook effectively in the classroom. So Google Bard has just recently added a little thing at the very bottom, and it's thinking on me. Come on, think. All right. So, be prepared, follow the teacher's instructions, all that good stuff. Oh man, it even gets some additional information here, like shortcuts. That's cool. But this little thing down here, double check Google's responses. And what it'll do is it's evaluating itself, right? It's preparing the information. So when you come back up here in Google Bard and you see these things that are highlighted, you can click on them. So the green are things that it found. This one here, it wasn't able to find a link or information out there on the web. And so it'll tell you here, Google search found content that differs, right? So this is a differing, a website that will give you differing information from that right there. All right. And you can click on understand the results. But that's one thing that Google has done. And I believe, as you start paying for some of the more premium features like in ChatGPT and things like that, you'll start seeing those come. But ChatGPT, Claude, Bard, they're all free right now. And you do have access to those in the district. Teachers have that. So let's talk a little bit about guidelines here. Again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close off my, turn off my camera because I want to make sure that you get all these. So in CFISD, we have some guidelines for AI, and here are the goals, right? Again, no reason why I'm going from white to yellow here is just to help differentiate the information. So embrace the potential benefits of AI while proactively addressing risks and limitation. That's something that we are doing. That's the goal of CFISD, AI and CFISD. We want to make sure that we prioritize educational outcomes that benefit teachers and students. There's a benefit to it. There's a benefit to it, and we want to make sure that, we're in the business of educating students, so we want to make sure that it's not just for messing around, right, and having fun and being able to do some fun stuff. It is for prioritizing educational outcomes. Continue to evaluate AI systems as they become available. Guys, AI is all over the place. It's no way that it's going away. So as it continues to move forward, we need to evaluate it. We want to maintain privacy expectations and data security. That is a big deal in Sci-Fair, not just with AI, but with everything that we do online. And so that's going to be a key piece as we move forward with AI, and then comply with all applicable laws and regulations. And I got to tell you, that's one of the reasons why we don't have this on for students right now, because the terms of service just don't allow it for students. And it usually wants you to be 18 to create an account. I want you to be 13 to be able to use it. We're still looking into that and still, evaluating how that could be done. But a lot of the times you turn something on for like an 11th grader, it's on for second graders as well, in Sci-Fair. And so finding a way to be able to do that. Moving on, we want to talk about the appropriate uses. So we want to make sure that it's personalized learning to meet the individual student needs. We create a deep learning opportunities, that we automate routines and administrative tasks to allow staff to focus on students. And so we want to make sure that AI, and not just AI, really it's all computers, everything that we do on our online, on our network, that it is appropriate. This creating deep learning, imagine how we can transform our instruction in the classrooms because we have these tools, this teaching assistant like Claude and ChatGPT and Bard. Another thing is, as we move forward with AI, we want to make sure that we are taking a cautionary approach, right? We're not going to use AI to make high stakes decisions about students. We're not going to throw data up there about STAR testing or about DPMs or about benchmarks and say, hey, ChatGPT, help us. We're not going to do that, because when we do that, we're sending up personal identifiable information, and we don't want to do that. So we're not going to use AI for that. We're not going to use student data up there, right? And personal information, identifiable information is ID numbers, first and last name, addresses, email. Guys, that's really important, something that we need to make sure that we do even when we are looking at Chrome extensions and softwares and websites for students. And we want to carefully test the AI systems to avoid bias and errors. And that's something that we need to continue to teach teachers and those that are using it, because there is bias out there, and we just want to make sure that we're able to handle that. All right. More on the cautionary approach. Understand that AI systems can provide false information. Kind of talked a little bit about that. And so you do need to do your fact checking when you are looking up specific. I can see maybe like a social studies teacher who is looking up facts, and ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, they throw out some facts, and then you need to really go check those facts and make sure that those are accurate. And we want to ensure transparency, right, and timely human review, and then continue research on the impacts and the ethics of education. I mean, that's going to be really important as we continue to look at this. It's going to be the thing here is, it's like we are going to see some differences in instruction and in education. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my camera back on. There's going to be some changes. We already have colleges and universities who've realized we can't fight AI, so we need to use it effectively to be able to instruct students. So it's everywhere. Microsoft has poured billions of dollars into OpenAI, which owns ChatGPT. Other companies have poured money. I think Amazon has poured a lot of money into ChatGPT, or I'm sorry, Claude. You have Google Bard, who's putting a lot of money into, Google is putting a lot of money into Bard. And so we want to just make sure that all of that, the ethics and all of that is right. So it's going to be everywhere. Microsoft is including it in a lot of their products. Google is including it in a lot of their products. We have Canva, we have Adobe, they're including it in their products. What I love about Canva and Adobe is they're seriously looking at child privacy, and they're looking at things as safeguard against students, right? For students, to make sure that they're protected with AI. All right. So just continuing the oversight, we're going to continue to review the AI systems to determine access to the network, like which things are going to be turned on and which things are going to be turned off, and then providing staff training. I know that my team has shared this out, shared training with other contents, and we're going to continue to share this out as we continue to move forward. All right. So here's the question, right? What about student use? Or what are we going to do about that? And my question is that if you found the large language models, if you found ChatGPT, if you found Claude and Bard and all these other things, you found it to be very useful, wouldn't it be useful for students? How many students are in a writing class and they get stuck? And what if they had the ability to type in one of these large language models, give me some ideas on what I can write about, and they were able to do that? Or let me, help me to understand this, whatever it might be, and they were able to explain this concept in an easier way. The thing that everybody was focusing on, right, and I have a bad robot there, bad AI, is because students were cheating. Students were cheating, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, students are cheating, and what are we going to do?" So, guys, let me. I'm gonna stop sharing just because I want to come off the camera. I want to be like full camera here. Students, since the very beginning of the first schoolhouse, have cheated. They're going to cheat, and it's not all students. it's a few students. But let's not let a few students take out this powerful resource for the students that can use it effectively. But again, we're going to need to learn how to use it effectively to be able to help students, and we provide this great resource. Remember when Wolfram Alpha came out, like, oh my gosh, you know, the math and stuff like that. Kids can type in their formulas, and they can type in their algebraic equations, and it gives them the answer, but it also helps them to understand where they maybe went wrong. So you have that, it's just going to go. And here's the thing, you're going to have it, the students are going to have it on their phones, and they're going to have it at home. So what are some things that we can do? So I know that at the when this started coming out, people were like, we need to get some resources to help us catch cheating. And so like Turnitin has their thing, and other companies have their thing. I'm going to start moving a lot faster right now, but they all fall short. They all realize when you do really research on those things, they give a lot of false positive. And so I'm going to come off the camera just one more time here, because I want to talk to you like just eye to eye here. How hurtful of a relationship. I mean, we can hurt our relationships with our students and with our parents when we take something that a student has written, throw it into something like Turnitin or one of the other things that are out there, an AI checker, and it says, oh no, they cheated. And then you start talking to that student about cheating, and they really did write the paper. Think about how that breaks that relationship and how that hurts that relationship with your students. We should want to do no harm here. And I was reading a story on a student that had written their paper. I mean, legit wrote their paper, and they threw it into ChatGPT, and they came back, or they threw it into one of the checkers, and it came back that it was cheated, that it was AI created. I think someone put in the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence, and the AI checker said that it was, somebody had cheated. So come on, it provides a lot of false positives. We want to be very, very careful. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and I got a couple more things here. There's one thing that you could do to possibly check to see if students, their language is, what they put into the large language model is cheating, and it's called the Draft Back Chrome extension. I learned about this one by John Soash at the Digital Learning Conference, and it's ironic that this is one of the oldest Chrome extensions out there. So let me show that to you. Oh, actually, I want to show this to you. The student wrote a review on this. This is March 29th, 2023. So it's this year. This was a lifesaver. I am in high school in AP classes, and today I got accused of using ChatGPT to write an essay. I have never written a review for an app before, but I absolutely love this, especially how I can use it for documents. I have already written. I use this to prove my innocence and then recommend this software to my teacher. I know there are probably other resources like this one, and to be honest, it was a little confusing with the embedding, but that was the first one I saw, and it absolutely saved my buttocks. All right, so that's kind of funny there. So let me show you what it looks like. So this is from Jake Miller, and this is actually an older. I'm going to go ahead and turn off or maybe minimize my camera there. And so no, I think you can see it. And so what it does is it records the writing. And so you can see it creates a little video for you. And so as you're typing it out, it records that. You click on the draft back, and it'll be up at you'd see that at the top right-hand corner up here. And then when you click on it, it produces a little video, and that video will show you what it looks like when a student is actually typing things out, right? So let me show you what it looks like when a student grabs something from one of the large language models and throws it in. It looks like this. So here is I created something from ChatGPT. I threw it into my Google Docs. I click on the draft back, and I am going to see that when I click view, boom, it just shows up. You see that? Now it does show that I write my name, and of course I need to put the period and the date and all that kind of stuff. It does show all that, but the information that I copied over is just a quick copy paste. So that's one way that you can do that. All right. So really quickly, I am going to give you the this Wakelet, this treasure trove. I believe that they're going to throw that into the YouTube chat, so you can easily grab that. If you use Wakelet, Wakelet is a great web-based software for curation, and so I am going to continue to throw those, put stuff in there for you as we continue moving forward with AI. But go ahead and grab that. If you don't have a Wakelet account, you can go ahead and use. You can sign in with Google with your CFISD, and you can actually save this Wakelet, and you can always refer back to it. I'm going to go there really quickly, and I'm going to turn off my camera. And one of the things, if you're on a touch screen, it's really easy to navigate. If you're not, you have to move it with your cursor here. But at the very top, you see the different categories. So about prompts, prompt examples, learn about, and I'm actually going to minimize my screen here. Learn about AI, AI turned on for staff here in the district, students safe. Now this one right here, we're still investigating it, but it says that it is SIPA and COPA compliant. I have the privacy policies of the different models for you. And I have resources. I did not use Educate there. Actually, I'm going to do that really quickly for you. I'm going to use a little bit of the time to do that. And then I have people that you can follow. All right, I'm going to use Educate. There's this great feedback bot here. And I want to show this to you, right? So I'm going to take my outline. I know, Amanda's telling me I got 1 minute. I know, Amanda, I'm the director. I can take a little bit more time if I need to. All right, right? I can do that. I think everybody wants to see this. All right, here we go. You throw this in. This is my outline, the feedback bot. I'm going to come down here, and this is Educate. Feedback bot is over here on the left. I'm going to hit custom feedback, and I'm going to say, make it better. All right. So on the right-hand side, now you can do this with student work too. You can generate the feedback. You can do this with student work, right? If you don't have something, feedback to give them, you can go ahead and do that. So overall, the student text provides a comprehensive overview of AI in education and its various applications. The inclusion of the specific AI usage in everyday life helps to make the content. One suggestion for improvement is to provide more specific and clear objectives for the text. In terms of formatting, it's taking my outline there. The section on how AI can benefit education is well developed. This would, it gives me other insights here. In the tactical section, the student provides a specific task for the AI. So it's great to be able to do that, right? And so that is here in the Wakelet. It's Educate. I have a lot of other resources, videos, things, people to follow. Guys, AI is not going to go away. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here because there is something else that I need to share with you. I'm going to turn my camera back on. AI is not going to go away. So we need to learn how to use it and use it effectively. And we'll continue from the Sci-Fair EdTech team, continue to share that in those trainings. All right, the thing that you've been waiting for, it's going to be the code here. I'm going to give you the code for this session. And let me provide that for you. Hold on one second. All right. Here we go. We're going to ask you to please not to share that out on the chat. So the code is assist, and you have the different ways to be able to turn that in. So you'll have a form to be able to input that code word. So right now, just write that code word down, and you'll be able to a little bit later on. At the end of EdTech Live, you'll be able to go and you'll be able to turn that in and get credit. There are 3 sessions that are live, but then you can get the other 3 sessions. So I'm going to leave that up for like 30 more seconds before they kick me out. Don't kick me out, people. I like sharing great information, right? Give me a thumbs up if you thought that this session was good, right? And it was helpful. We always want to be helpful for you guys and provide great quality PD for Sci-Fair teachers. And then those of you that are joining us from all over the place out there. All right. So, all right, 10 more seconds. Again, the attendance code is assist. And then I'm going to go ahead and open up, coming up next for us at the top of the hour. And I'm going to go ahead and do a new share. Coming up for us here, you have two choices in following me is going to be Performance Matters. Jennifer Frazier and Katrina Matthews, they're going to be talking about leveling up your data game. And then over in room A, you're going to be able to go to clean up the mess in your Chrome, Outlook and Chrome. Remember, guys, at the end of, there's 3 that are live, and then you can continue watching the other ones all the way up to midnight and get credit. And then after that, you can still watch them. You just don't get credit after midnight. All right, I think that is going to be it. I'm going to stop sharing and come back. And guys, it was a pleasure. I'm always glad to be able to connect with you guys online and share this information. Stick around, go take care of yourself, go get a drink, go hydrate, dehydrate, grab a snack. Don't forget to tag us on Twitter. Take a picture of your setup and send it to us on Twitter, with the hashtag EdTech Live. We'd love to be able to see your setup, and some of you guys get really elaborate out there as you're learning, and so we greatly appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. They're going to go ahead and get a commercial up and running, and then we'll have Katrina and Jennifer coming up next. Guys, y'all have a great weekend.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Are you overwhelmed by everything on your ClassLink? there's a simple modification that can facilitate you and your students' productivity. If there's an app that you're regularly using, right-click, Add to Favorites. Did you see what happened there? It populated on your bottom taskbar. Think about how useful this would be for students that struggle finding textbooks or softwares that are maybe under additional resources. Right-click, Add to Favorites. Right-click, Add to Favorites.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
All right, good morning. Thank you everyone for joining us on a lovely Saturday. We have today some awesome tips and a little bit of a guided tour into student item analysis. I'm Jennifer Frazier. I'm the coordinator here in Sci-Fair for Schoology and Performance Matters. And then also leading this session today, we've got Katrina Matthews. She's our Schoology and PM coach. So the two of us are going to be walking you through student item analysis. It's a in-depth look at the things that are happening on the tests that you give in PM. And it is really the teacher's best friend when it comes to exploring how our students did, planning ahead for those next steps after we've given an assessment, because we know the whole point in taking a snapshot or getting those data points is so that we can really reflect on that in terms of our instruction. So this is a great tool to help us do that. To get us set up for the day, I want to just send you guys to our bit.ly. You are going to have a couple of websites that we use today. So the first is going to be this bit.ly. When you come in, it's going to look a little something like this, but we're going to start off by going to bit.ly SGY PM links. And now that is case sensitive, so make sure that we do capitalize these points up here where the letters are capitalized. We'll be dropping that in the chat as well, so you guys can just click that link and pop right to it. Once you get inside the site, you're going to want to look at these links at the top and go over here to training links. What you'll see are some resources for the different things that we're talking about today, or some support items for things that we maybe are referencing but not going into full depth on. And we would love for you to be able to pull those up and travel along with us. Now, if you're new to PM and this is all just a lot, please do feel free to just watch along and work with us and see what we've got. And then these resources will be up here for at least the next couple weeks so that you can continue to grab them and come back. When you click them, you'll have the opportunity to use a button in the top right and add those to your Google Drive as well. So this will be a valuable tool to you. So I'll leave that up for just a second and kind of let Katrina go ahead and introduce herself a little bit more, and then we're going to jump right into student item analysis, and she'll kind of show us how to get there.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that great intro, Jen. If any of you are dealing with allergies, I'm sure you're feeling my pain today. It's going to be an exciting day working through these allergies, but I'm super excited to be here. Normally I'm working behind the scenes and supporting. So this is a great opportunity and a fun opportunity to be in front of the camera, in front of you, presenting and sharing such a great tool that we are going to be utilizing on today. In terms of the student item analysis. I love that Jen set us up so greatly with the bit.ly piece that you'll have long-term access to. The other thing is just ensuring that you have logged into my.cfisd.net and clicked on, you've gotten authenticated, and that you click on that Performance Matters tab as well, because we'd love for you to be involved and engulfed in this displaying this modeling that we're doing today, because we are going to make it interactive and have some questions throughout our time today so that you're able to kind of share some of your thoughts, your thinking, your thought processes in the chat, because we want you along with us in this journey. So we're super excited to be here. So having said that, I'm hopeful that everybody can hear me loud and clear, even though my sinuses are kind of crazy, but super excited that we're going to get started and have a great time today looking at the student item analysis. So how are we doing, Jen? You think we're ready to get started and delve into that?
Yeah, I think let's go ahead and jump in. Again, like I said, y'all, if you want to come back to this stuff and just watch today, we understand. If you want to kind of sandbox along with us, please go ahead and use this as a tool and a time where you can kind of play and figure some things out. We'll have the questions open in the chat and have the ability to kind of play at your level. If you go through these, like I said, we'll be referencing several of those things, but it won't necessarily be a scripted guide. So please go ahead and pull some of those things up and enter at the level that you feel comfortable. And then, like I said, go ahead and drop those questions in the chat. We will have some designated Q&A time at the end, but if there's something where you want us to re-explain or go a little bit deeper about something we mentioned, let us know and we'll be happy to circle back to those. But I think let's go ahead and Katrina and jump right in.
Awesome. Well, I am sharing my screen as we speak, and hopefully you all are able to see it as well. So this is the student item analysis report. And I love that it is such a phenomenal pre-formatted report, meaning that it's already built for you. You don't have to create it. And it gives you great access to amazing data, amazing information that will allow you to make great decisions in your instruction and how you support your students in the classroom. So hopefully by now, if you were planning to log in, you're already in Performance Matters. You've clicked on your left screen here in reports, that icon there. And then when you click there, you'll be able to see student item analysis as an option. You click it and you'll be there. Now, one thing that I want to keep in mind is that there are going to be some information like on the right-hand side of your screen, which allows you to determine that you're in the live mode as it relates to the data that you're exploring and seeing on today. Now, based upon how we're streaming on YouTube, you may not currently see it through the video, but just know that it is actually there on the right-hand side. And you want to make sure that you're in TX_Cypress. No year assigned to it. Make sure that that's there and you're in the live mode also. So if you are in student analysis, one of our most important first steps also that you'll see is that I'm going to be in demo mode. I'm in demo mode for a reason, and that reason is to ensure that we are protecting our students' privacy as we examine and focus on this data on today. So this is a sample test. It'll give us some great framework in terms of what your data may look like when in the experience may look like when you're going in the student item analysis. And so that's our whole purpose for today. Now, the first thing I need for you to do is to ensure that you maybe select like a test title. And today's test title, I've already pre-selected and used some of my filters right here. We'll touch on the filters a little bit later in today, but I've built some filters there to allow us to see a more granular view at the data, because in my particular role, I have access to all of the data throughout the district. And so we didn't want to expose and reveal all of that information for you today. That's why I kind of already used my additional filters here that allowed me to kind of narrow it down. So I'm on a campus, I'm able to see a classroom tied to a teacher, a sample teacher with that particular data. But the good news is you automatically get data tied to you on your campus. So you don't necessarily have to complete and build those filters as detailed as I did. So that's the great benefit for you. You're only going to have access and see the data that you as a teacher on your campus has access to. And the same for your team members. So that we hope gives you great confidence that you're not going to be seeing other people's data. It is purely your data that you are tied to within the system. So having said that, the thing that I love about this student item analysis report is that it's a pre-formatted report, as I mentioned, but it has 3 great components that we're going to address on today that's going to really allow you to see some awesome information and be able to make informed decisions as you move forth in decision making as it relates to instruction and how to better meet the needs of your students. So one component that we're going to look at on today first is looking at the standards component. That's so important because we know that everything is about STAR, right? How the questions are aligning to STAR, how we're teaching and supporting our students as it relates to those standards that are related to STAR. So that part is going to be great for you. To the right over here, we're going to have a component that we discussed that talks about the comparison. It's always great to compare, right? You want to know how your students are doing, how your instruction is going for them in comparison, not only to the students, but your campus. And in most instances, even the district. So that's going to be great as well. Then we're going to scroll down and give you an opportunity to look at individual data for your students. That way you can really better support that. Look at reteach opportunities with your students and really ensure that you're meeting their needs. So hopefully you are ready to go for this ride. We're going to delve even further into this process. But as we begin, I want to make sure that you know that you can't break anything in these reports. So feel free to hover and discover. You'll hear me talk about that in this particular report and in our experience as well. Hovering is a good thing. You'll be able to get great information about what is being revealed. And also, don't be afraid to click around. If you click about, you'll learn great information as well. So no problems at all. So what we're going to do first here is look at, as we're delving in on the standards component here. So if you notice, I'm hovering and I'm discovering that what this standard is actually teaching about. So that's going to help me as I'm looking at this particular standard on linear equations in 2 variables in various forms. So with that particular piece, I'm able to see what this standard is about. I can even click on the next, hover over the next standard, and it shows me what this standard is about. Notice, I love that this particular sample this sample assessment has multiple standards here that are being addressed in there. So that was, we thought would be a great example for you all to see on today, to get a good gauge of what these students are being assessed on this particular assessment. So that is great to know as you prepare to move forward. Not only with these standards, I love this second column here. It shows you the number of items. And when it says the number of items, it is talking about the number of questions that are on this particular assessment that are tied to that respective standard. Isn't that awesome? So as we're looking here, we see this particular standard. We see that there was one question on this assessment that was tied to that. But as we look at MA.A.2C, we're able to see that there were actually 3 questions tied to that assessment. So we love to see how these students are being exposed to the multiple standards and how frequently, because in this particular assessment, because it's going to help us in our thinking. It's going to help us in our reflection time in determining how we're going to move forward with our instruction with these particular students. So another thing that I want you to look at with this particular piece is the percentage of students. So this data that we're seeing right here, what it helps us to see is how, based upon our performance bands, and the performance bands are set up, and we can click on that real quick, it shows us the grading bands and the grading scores here. So if you're able to see this, this was pre-selected and pre-created when the assessment was being created. So we see the categories here. Now, on this particular one, we'll talk about why you don't necessarily see that A on this one. This shows the results there, but we're able to see there was a B cut score, there was a C cut score, a C minus cut score, as well as the final grade there, the F there. And so obviously with these particular court scores that were set up, it helps us to better gauge what the students and how they performed on these particular questions. Now, since that gives us a little bit more of what these color bands looks like, these performance bands, it helps us to understand now what the student results were. Now, if we're looking at this on the percentage of students, we're looking at, on this particular standard, we're noticing that we had about, when I hover, we're able to see that approximately 15% of those students did not master this particular standard. Now, that may not have been what we wanted it to be in terms of the results, but getting this information is so critical to help us understand what the students are understanding and what maybe they're not understanding. So it'll help us with our reteach opportunities. Now, if we hover over here, holistically on the assessment, we do see that there was a certain percentage of students that did do pretty well on this particular standard. And then as we scroll down a little bit further, we're able to see at a glance, as we're hovering, how these students are performing here. So this is great information to certainly have at a glance for us so that we can get a great snapshot as it relates to the actual standards there. Now,
and Katrina, if I can jump in there just a little bit.
Oh, absolutely, Jen.
You know, like I know you were just showing us kind of those color bands and how that relates to the performance band, right? And so that's why you'll notice on those middle ones, we've got a little bit more nuance on those ones that were tested more times, because when you're only testing something once, you're either 100% proficient or 0% proficient, right? And it's going to be very cut and dry. But you will see that on certain tests, that as we start to test them more times on certain assessments, we get a little bit more nuance in those color bands. And so we could see exactly how many students are in each of those grading categories. And then again, those percentages that line up with that. But that's why you're going to start to see those other colors show up in the middle of that section there, where we've got more times assessed for each of those TEKs.
Absolutely. And I love that you hopped in and shared that great insight, Jen, on that part as well. So what we're going to do, we want you guys to get involved as well. If you're able to, as we're looking with these particular standards, the things that I love about this is that I'm one of the first questions I'd like for us to try out is to think about, if I'm examining these standards, which standard would I try to reteach whole class with that particular piece? So as I'm looking at the standard and I'm focusing on how often they were exposed to this standard as well, I want to think about maybe what is one that I'd like to reteach. And so in looking at this is your opportunity to kind of put something in the chat. And Jen is actually looking to see for those of you that may have an opportunity to post some things in the chat, because we do want to hear from you if you have that opportunity to see which standard would you like to reteach to your students. Now, obviously for me, as I'm examining, I'm looking here and I'm thinking, I see this particular standard was presented in 3 different questions, but we had quite a few students that still had difficulty on this particular standard. So that might be a standard that comes to my mind that say, hey, maybe we can reteach this whole group or something to that effect. We want to hear from you. You may have a different idea that you've posted in the chat, and we certainly welcome that. But that's what this is all about, being able to examine and look at what that data looks like. And in fact, I actually clicked on this particular standard there as well, and it's able to show me more data that's tied to that particular standard and how these students performed holistically on that particular standard. So that's something to keep in mind. Notice if you're able to see a little bit of information move to the right, you didn't see all of that information because it was focusing on this one particular standard there. And so when I re-click it back, it repopulates that information the same way that I had it initially. I noticed that Jen had another quick question or comment that she wanted to add in there.
Yeah, we just people are starting to pop into the chat, and it looks like that some of them are able to navigate along with us. Do you want to point out that the only tests that you can review in student item analysis right now are going to be what would be considered a common assessment? So those are going to be the performance matters tests that we administer through our campuses or our districts. So any of our STAR tests, any of the statewide tests, MAP testing, those currently do not feed to this exact report, because like Katrina was saying, this is all pre-formatted for us. And so it's going to need to pull on some of those deeper data pieces. And so it's really going to be performance matters native kind of tests.
Great point. And I love that they're asking and trying to think of ways of on many levels how they can utilize this report. And that is great. And I know that we're beginning the testing season in our district and on the campuses. And so this is going to be great for you to have a wonderful foundation to begin right out the gate in better supporting our students there. So I love that. Now, Jen, I'm wondering, did anybody had were there any other thoughts or in terms of or standards that they would maybe reteach there?
We had someone pop in, and it looks like they're actually able to pull up some of their own stuff. They're mentioning some TEKs that we don't currently see on the screen, but yeah, kind of like you're saying, it is such a general good kind of quick barometer, right? Like I can very quickly see what are the TEKs that lots of my students struggled with versus ones where maybe my kids were a little bit more divided on, because I know in my classroom, if everyone misses it, right, then that means I need to go back and find a new way to introduce that idea. And you kind of mentioned it in passing, but again, like, you know, when we're looking at that first entry versus the second, if something's been assessed 3 times and they still are clearly not understanding it, we know that that's going to have more data validity behind it than something that maybe was only assessed once, where maybe the question was a little bit difficult or had vocabulary. That's easier to be thrown off. But when we know something's been assessed multiple times and lots of our kids missed it, we definitely want to hone in on that.
Right, absolutely. And that was great insight, continuing to be shared there also. And so, speaking of that, I know creating small groups can be important as well and is vital when we're instructing our students and better meeting their needs in terms of them understanding and comprehending standards. So, one thing that I want to do very quickly as well on this particular component is if I click multiple standards there, I want you to watch how that data repopulates there. I love how it shifted on this component because it allowed me to see on multiple standards how certain students did that may have had difficulties across the board with the standards. And when I scroll down here, I'm able to see those students right here along with their performance on that standard. And that could be a phenomenal small group that you could pull to be able to meet with them one-on-one in that particular group to better meet their needs. And so I love that this is so just by me clicking those two standards or multiple standards, it allowed me to see over a range of standards how these students performed. So then when I'm meeting with them, the similar standards that are there, I have multiple ones that I'm able to address with those students in the small group to make that time more impactful. So hopefully that makes you excited as it does me to help be able to utilize this tool in meeting the needs of your kids when you're getting into the small groups. And then there's one other component with this piece that I'd love for us to look at, and that is the color swatches here. I know that proficiency is very important, and we're constantly looking at ways, how are our students proficient? Did they meet the proficiency cut score on particular assessments? And what I'm going to do here is, remember, I'm going to go ahead and click everything back here so that we can get to our original piece there. Hold on one second.
Actually, Katrina, could you show them how you can click on the additional filters to reset?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
You know, as you do, you're going to pop in here, you're going to start clicking on things, and it is easy to be like, now which ones did I turn on? Because we know if you click it again, it'll go away. But if you ever lose track, you can do exactly what Katrina's doing here and click that additional filters button at the top. And just by clearing those at the bottom.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm clearing that out because if you notice, it didn't, they were still there. And so now, guess what? When I removed those filters, it brought me back to my original state. So that's the part I love, that it doesn't matter what I do. It's not going to mess it up. It's always a way to get back to that original state when we click it and never be in doubt. So when we come back here, we're able to see on our color swatches there as well. Right now, currently, we have the green that is already selected. So my question is, I want to find out which of my students were actually proficient in these particular standards. So when I think about the colors that are here and what I don't want included in my report, I have to think just for a second. So that green is included. Let's include the yellow because they're still likely proficient there. Even the orange color is above that cut score proficiency, and then the beige color as well. So with that, the only color that's not proficient is the red, right? Where they were below that proficiency score. So I don't want that data included. So when I'm looking at the performance bands and the color swatches, I want to select the boxes of the information that I want included. And so that's what I did. And look at how quickly that information repopulated to show me on these particular standards, which students were proficient on this at a glance. So that part was great and exciting to see that how quickly I was able to see that particular information there as well. And you should still have your data at the bottom. So with this particular piece on looking at the standards, I hope that you were able to learn some great pieces on that as we prepare to move to the next component on this particular report, which talks about the comparing piece. But before we move on, I think Jen has another quick point that she wants to share. Go right ahead, Jen.
You know what? I think that TEAC section is really meaty. So I think right now, why don't we give them a chance to ask any questions, or if you want to volunteer how you have used this report in your classroom. But I also would like to take this moment and let's go ahead and share the attendance code. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that up on the screen for just a little bit here. But yeah, and I do love, it's amazing how much information they can pack in just with that one little section. You get such a great overview of where are my kids at big picture, what are they understanding? And I know we're going to get even more in depth into being able to track some of that kids stuff. If you've got questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat. Continue doing that. We love to hear from you. But go ahead and grab this attendance code as well. Those attendance sheets will be open through the evening. And so if you are watching other pre-recorded sessions, maybe, you're hopping back and forth and picking certain sessions right now with us live, but you want to watch others later, or if you've got obligations, but you'll be able to catch some this evening, go ahead and pop those attendance codes in. Our attendance code for this session is data. And want to make sure that you guys get credit after spending this time with us. So please go ahead and mark that down. And so far, I'm not seeing a ton of questions in, but do let us know. Now, as it was mentioned in one place, we do know it's early in the year. And so especially if you're in like a elementary situation, it's possible you haven't taken as many performance matters tests just yet. However, we are starting to roll into our DPM season, and we know that those are going to be populating more and more quickly as we head from October to December. And hopefully this will help you be prepared. And you can always make sure to come back and access this video. And we, of course, from our department, will be putting out resources as well. So as we move on from that TEACS view, I know, Katrina, you've got a couple of other data panes to show us, and we'll be popping in and out with questions and quick tips and things like that as well. Hopefully everyone got that attendance code down, and we'll go ahead and keep moving on.
Awesome. And what a perfectly fitting attendance code, data, because that's what we're talking about today. So awesome. Great. So it's back on me. Am I not seeing? We still share?
You just need to share your screen again.
Gotcha. I will share my screen again. Awesome. We are back in business. So on the right-hand side here, as you can see, we have a comparative component that's on this student item analysis report. So on the right here, as you can see, the first column shows our students. The second column shows our school and our district. Now, as we examine this information, I do want you to be thinking and examining, what do you think is interesting about this particular report here? Something looks interesting between the school and district. Be thinking about that piece, and we'll kind of share that connection here shortly in just a moment. But if we start on our student category here, this allows all of my students that I'm examining that data on to see how they performed holistically on this assessment. So when I hover on this particular color, the red color, it shows us that the amount of students and how they perform holistically. Now, if we move to the next color, the lighter color, we're able to see that as well. And we notice that that was approximately 5.88%. And that particular cut score was 70 to 74 on this particular grade. And then the orange, we're able to see the number of students that got this particular grade. So we love that that is color-coded, grouped all together, and allows me to see, based upon the cut bands that were created, how the students performed holistically there. Now, as we say, we often are competitive, right? We want to be able to see, how are my students gauged according to maybe our campus, or maybe even our district. But if you had a thought about why do you think the school and district data looks the same, feel free to share that in the chat. I'm curious to hear if any persons had any thoughts before we reveal that. Oh, go ahead, Jen. It looks like you have something.
We
there.
did just get one volunteering it. It says it looks like only one. This school has taken the test in the district. Marcus, you're exactly right. Yeah.
I love it. Yes, you are spot on. That is exactly it. This was just a campus common assessment that was administered. It was not like a DPM or something like that we would administer district-wide, or likely that data would be very different. You see a different component for the district. So you are spot on with that. Whoever that was, great job. Kudos to you, because it is a campus assessment. And so in this case, the school information as well as the district information will mirror each other. And so based upon that, we're able to see how our students in our class that we're currently looking at will then allow us to measure up based upon how the campus did holistically. So I love that we're able to see that. Now, we see that there's not necessarily any green in our particular class that we're evaluating, but we noticed that for the campus, there were some greens. So this is just another opportunity that, hey, maybe we can look back in and see, how do we move our kids a little bit further into this content and help them grow through our reteaching opportunities and even peer teaching that we may identify as well. So that's the gist of this comparing component that is so exciting. And I love the fact that with this particular information, it can also be a great tool in your goal setting. We're always looking for ways to set those goals, even with our students, to set their individual goals. What better way of using this data that's already pre-formatted and created there for you, where you can manipulate to your leisure and make and set those goals accordingly to ensure that you are doing a great job to help your students navigate and learn into their best ability. Jen, you had a point?
Yeah, and it happened kind of naturally as you were clicking on the teaks and everything. But before we leave this section, I do want to point out that like you're saying, this is all pre-formatted stuff. So as we click around on different things, if we select a specific teak or we select specific students, we're going to see some of these bars and charts move and change and grow or adjust based on the students we're actually looking at. And that's another thing that I think is valuable. If I'm trying to dive in on a certain teak or I'm working with a specific group of students, that's going to kind of help me get that quick snapshot, like you're saying, so that we can see our kids growing. Who am I looking at for those special tutorials and things, and how are they comparing with the other students? Maybe I'm trying to target that meets to masters and I want to move kids up. And so being able to dial in and see that quickly reflected into these charts is something else I really appreciate.
Yes, I love that. And as usual, you add that amazing additional insight to the data there that you live and breathe in every single day, right, Jen? You're the master. I love it. And so we hope that you can certainly, as our amazing educators, use the same data to be able to use it in your classroom and to your benefit as well. I love it. Now we are moving on to that third and final component. We're moving right along, I think, pretty well on our time. And so I know that you're going to love this final component here, which is talking about the individual student results. And so the key thing that I want you to understand in this particular component on the student item analysis report, the first thing I want you to see is, based upon my filters, you notice it's only showing 17 students because I was able to actually select a particular class and period that I'm looking at. But in your filters, you have complete control, what we talked about at the very top, where you're able to go into your filters and select what you're needing and remove those when you're wanting to return back to all of your original data holistically. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And to the right, this particular red number that you see here, we wanted to make sure that we're highlighting that a common question people are often thinking, this is this maybe my percentage of students that are proficient? The answer, unfortunately, is no. This is the average of your student scores. So the average. If it is students that made a 100 to 80 to 60 to whatever the other scores are, it is a complete average. So keep that in mind when you're evaluating and looking at this particular number right here as the score. And speaking of that, as I hover over this particular number, notice how I'm able to get test statistics here. It shows me the number of students that I'm looking at in this particular data set. It also shows me the total number of students that received this particular assessment and the PE and PP. PE is the points earned out of the points possible, hence PE and PP. And if you notice, that is actually a category on this item analysis report that we'll look at very briefly as well. So as we continue to scroll down, notice again, the data is in alpha order because I have not clicked on any particular like filters or tabs to adjust that data. So I'm currently seeing the data of my students in this subset that are in alpha order. Now, I'm thinking about, I want to kind of look at a little more of this information and delve in a little bit deeper. So what I'm wanting to do is on the test score, I'm thinking, how do I get more detailed there? I may even want to look at who is possibly my lowest performing students or even my highest performing students. So what I will do is on the particular test score, as you can see here, I'm going to click to this little arrow right on the side. Notice my scores repopulated. The color groupings change, and I'm scoring and I'm scrolling down. I'm now able to see the students grouped together from lowest to high on this particular adjustment. So that's my lowest scoring students. And then you can see more accordingly as well to my highest performing students there as well. We do believe that that's value because I can immediately see, okay, I have about 3 or 4 students here that I'm looking at, which was my question. What were my 3 lowest performing students? And so I'm able to quickly at a glance see who they are and assess and better meet their needs as well. This information is definitely manipulated where you can come in and adjust it accordingly. And if I happen to click this arrow again, notice what happens. I'm able to see now my highest scores to the lowest, how they're adjusting there as well. So we thought that that was a great tool for you to be able to see at a glance on how you're able to evaluate that data also there as well. We talked about on the points earned and the points possible. That shows you this data information for your pleasure right there. It's already processed for you. And we just wanted to briefly kind of highlight that for you as well. Now, as we're moving along, one thing that I love about this report as we want to delve a little bit deeper is the detail that comes in. With this particular detail, I hope you can see as I'm hovering over this, you notice that these are questions that are tied, all of your assessment questions that are here are in a row for you to see there. And when I hover over the first question, for instance, it gives me more details about that particular question. It shows me the points possible, which was a max of 4 points there, and the weight that they put on this particular question. It also tells me the type of question that is there, as well as the standard that is tied to. I love hovering over this and getting that information at a glance where I don't have to guess. It is right there provided for me to get more specific detail on the particular needs there as well. Now, one other step that I'm going to take here is if I click. Remember, I said, don't worry about clicking, just feel free and comfortable to click. Let's see what happens then. So I clicked on that particular question. Let me click one more time. There we go. Now it's showing me what I'm looking for. On that particular question, when I clicked on it, it actually revealed what the actual test question was. And I'm able to see the response on there that student did not get this is actually the holistic review there, the number of points that are available there, and there was no response on that, but it shows me the actual test assessment question there for my information. So that's great to keep in mind as well. So that's a great tool. Then I'm going to scroll down a little bit further. Look at this little cute little squiggly line that's there. Let's click on that and see what information is revealed for me there also. So I'm clicking on that one, giving it just a second to populate. Maybe I'll click one more time.
I think it might be loaded at the top of your screen, actually,
At the top,
Katrina.
yes. I can't say my camera was there. Thank you for that, Jen. Absolutely. So on my squiggly line there, I'm able to see when I scroll up, these are actually distractors. And it shows me that information. And you notice on the right-hand side right here, it shows me the question that I clicked on to see more specific data on. And when I see here on that particular question, it shows me also school and district information, which is good to know. So on this particular question, it shows me holistically how the students performed there as well, that did not get the score in there, are those that actually got the full credit on this one as well. You want to say something, Jen?
And I was just gonna say, like in this particular example, we're looking at one where they really either got the 4 points or they didn't. But if you'll see, Katrina, if you click on like question 2, I think one of the multi-choice ones, this is, as you said, this is a great way to see the distractor info. So if we click on the squiggle line with one that is a multi-choice, we'll see like how many students picked A, how many students picked B, C, D, etc. If we're picking on one that has the numbers, then we're going to see those point values. So depending on the type of question it is, our data will look a little different.
And yes, that is great. And I actually selected one, Jen, that had the multiple choice there. So we're actually able to see which students selected A, B, C, D, and E accordingly, and even those that didn't have a response. So that is some great information so that you can know what your students were thinking or what options that they selected, so it'll better help you support their needs also. This is a great tool that's a component within this student item analysis report as well. Now, there's one other piece that I definitely want you to look at as we're preparing to kind of wrap some things up here with the assessment. As things are moving very, very fast here, we're able to actually look at this particular question. I'm clicking on this question here on question 3, the answer choice. Notice that the student did not get credit for this particular answer that they entered. But if we look at the information that is provided, we're able to see that it again gives us the question that's there before us. And it also allows us to see the answer choices that the student made. That is even better and even a greater piece that will help support us also on that particular component as we're preparing to better meet the needs of the students. So we love that about this particular component as well within the student item analysis, as we're looking at the student breakdown of the information. And our awesome Amanda has given us the reminder that we have just a couple of minutes. And so what we'll do is we hope that you found some great information here as we prepare to close out. One other 2 components that we want to share very quickly is that keep in mind, we know that you love to manipulate your data. We love the fact that it is available in Excel. As you see the tab here, that you can click on Excel and get this data that you provided here, manipulate it in Excel as you need to. And there's also a CSV file that's there for us as well. And then there's one last thing that I wanted to share for you with your time with us, and Jen can take it away as we maybe plug in a couple questions. You have a Save tab that's here. And with the Save tab, it allows you to actually click and get the actual, let's see here. It'll show us a URL that is there, that is tied specifically to this particular report, that's already built with your filters and everything. It has your title in there also. The great thing is you could grab this URL at the bottom, save it into your bookmarks. And what happens is it has that information saved for you. So as you continue to build and engage in more assessments with your students throughout the year, all you're having to do is add those assessments to this particular report and not start all the way from the beginning. It is a great time-saving strategy that we definitely wanted to ensure that we shared with you all on today. So that closes me out, Jen. You can take it away and share your finishing notes there.
All right. Yeah, in the chat, thank you guys for participating there. I do hope that this stuff is really helpful to y'all. And as was kind of mentioned, there are some help resources on that Schoology page, that bit.ly, for if you are interested in doing more with the custom filters. If you're ever seeing students in your group who are not currently in your classroom, or maybe you teach like for advisory or a different subject and not your core content, you want to make sure you use those filters to dial in on the students you actually want to see. So like Katrina mentioned, she used those before we came in today to get it down to just one class period for one teacher. And that way we could ensure that all of that data was exactly for this test. So coming up next, we've got in channel A, maximizing your Chromebook. And in channel B, it's going to be making notes matter with Cami. So depending on what you are looking to do next, we hope you will join either Danielle and Jamae or Ryan and Tammy as they kind of walk us through our next steps. We've got 1 hour left here in EdTech Live. And we hope that you guys are enjoying the morning. Thank you so much for participating in the chat with us. That bit.ly that we shared with you has loads of resources and helps, and we're going to continue to fill that up with other things as we go. But thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll go ahead and give you guys a quick break before you prepare to shift over to your next section. So thanks so much for joining us.
Bye. PM matters.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15 minute break between each session where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Are you overwhelmed by everything on your class link? There's a simple modification that can facilitate you and your students' productivity. If there's an app that you're regularly using, right-click, Add to Favorites. Did you see what happened there? It populated on your bottom taskbar. Think about how useful this would be for students that struggle finding textbooks or softwares that are maybe under additional resources. Right-click, Add to Favorites. Right-click, Add to Favorites.
Welcome to EdTech Live. We're happy that you're here today. I'm Tamara, and this is Ryan.
We would like to take a moment and welcome you to today's event and give you a little information about what to expect.
New sessions start every hour, and you can stay for the whole event or just watch the sessions you're interested in seeing. There is a 10 to 15-minute break between each session, where you can enter your attendance credit or take care of personal needs. During the live event, you also have 2 sessions each hour to choose from. After the live event, you can watch any of the other sessions on your own time.
During each session, the host will give you a link and a secret code to jot down. This will be the link you use to access the attendance forms, and you will enter the code onto the form. You can keep this form open throughout the event in a separate tab because you will have to do this for each session. You can still earn attendance credit if you are watching after the live event. However, you must submit by midnight tomorrow.
Within an hour of submitting your attendance, you should be receiving a response receipt. If you do not receive this email, please resubmit the attendance form and double check to make sure your email address is typed correctly.
We, along with our whole EdTech team, want to thank you again for being here today and enjoy your session. It will be starting soon.
Are you overwhelmed by everything on your class link? There's a simple modification that can facilitate you and your students' productivity. If there's an app that you're regularly using, right-click, Add to Favorites. Did you see what happened there? It populated on your bottom taskbar. Think about how useful this would be for students that struggle finding textbooks or softwares that are maybe under additional resources. Right-click, Add to Favorites. Right-click, Add to Favorites.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the last session of EdTech Live for October 7th. We are really happy that you have stuck around with us for this event today.
We saved the best for last. Yay! Of course, we totally mean ourselves, and it has nothing to do with Tammy, right?
Sure. I'm pretty sure they're here for Cami, though.
Oh, well, okay. We can deal with that. Let's give them the best Tammy hour of their lives, right?
I like it. Let's do this. By the way, hi. I'm Ryan McLaughlin Davis. I am joined here by, I don't know what screen y'all are seeing, but I am joined by the amazing and wonderful Tamara Ferguson. And we are going to be looking at Cami, like she said. And we're going to be looking at it a little differently than maybe we've done in the past.
Well, I hope so, because we're going to make our notes completely matter with Cami.
Yes,
So
I like
let's
it.
take it away. We have actually had Cami in our district now for a couple of years. I think it made its debut in our district in 2020. I kind of feel like that was a significant year.
Maybe just a little.
Maybe. I'm trying to repress those years.
Well, if I remember it correctly, I had a lot of dogs barking in the background, and you were working outside in the garage.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that. That's all gone.
It's a blur. It's gone.
Yeah, it's all gone. And you know what I realized very sadly today? Because of all those times where we had to do like all the virtual stuff, I had this lucky hat. Do you remember my lucky hat?
You didn't bring it today, did you?
No. And I realized that I don't know that I can do this presentation without it now.
Well, you kind of have to.
Yes, we do. And here we go. So today we would like to honor the fact that we've had lots of users over the years with Cami. And we'd like to show you today how you can use it to drive learning. And we have some ideas to share, including maybe using it as a digital notebook. Or perhaps you have a project and you want kids to brainstorm together.
Or if you are one of our amazing science teachers, you can use it for a lab journal, or better yet, make interactive learning activities with it.
Those are great ideas. Or, and as we're going to be focusing on today, using it as a note-taking tool with your students. I mean, note-taking is kind of a staple in our classroom. So let's look at a different way of using it today. And we're going to be looking at using sketch notes, where we're actually sketching our notes. And I have somebody here that like just doodles all the time. So she's a perfect person for me to pair up for this.
I do. I live in a world of doodles and colors and all the drawings all the time. It's a fun land.
Yes, she does. Today we were thinking about what we can do as a note-taking activity, and we came up with something that we thought would be something that everybody would kind of recognize what it was, even if it's not a topic that you specifically teach. And what we settled on was 6 kingdoms. Does that
like not Prince Charles, King Charles? He's king now, King Charles.
Oh yes, right. It's definitely the 6 kingdoms, including King Charles's kingdoms. No, it's the 6 kingdoms of life, and we're going to tie sketch noting to that. Okay, our jokes are really corny. We're going to have to up the game a little bit.
They are like, they don't even reach level like dad joke level. We're not there yet. Mom jokes.
Yeah, no, we have to grow in our jokes a little bit.
We do. We need to get better at this.
Oh, that's okay. As long as what we do today is meaningful to you. And speaking of which, when we're thinking of how to use this in a meaningful way, as we said, when you are looking at what we're doing today, if it doesn't align perfectly with what you teach in class, please think of how you can use our strategies we talk about today to what you teach and how you can apply it with Cami. And also, this is actually a live event. Hopefully we're not just like chilling out with our feet up and watching TV on the side and not watching us, because you know what? This is amazing stuff that we're going to share with you today. So participate in the chat, put your questions on there. We would love to have you part of our conversation and our presentation today. If you have questions or comments, we're going to be watching for them. Put them in the chat and join our conversation today. Now, in Kami, I know that we have some newbies with us, even though we've had it in our district and lots of people are using it. I think we said something like nearly half of the people in our district use Kami in some capacity in our district. So that's a lot of people, but I also know we have lots of newbies as well. So if you're new to Kami, one of the best things you can do is go ahead and install that extension directly onto your computer. And you can see I have it right here. And when I click on it, Kami will actually load into a dashboard for me and do.
I like the music, Tammy. I love it. Awesome.
All right, Kami. Oh, wow. Okay, this is
The more you
almost...
sing, the faster it goes.
Yeah, if I sing really fast, do you think it loads really fast? Let me try it again. I'm not sure what, because we're off to a great start.
It's gonna be okay. It's gonna work.
I believe you. Come
Positive
on,
vibes. Positive vibes.
there it is.
Yeah.
You got it. Yay. So we're gonna totally blame that on the internet. At least it's not another fire alarm in the middle of our session.
Don't jinx it. No.
Nope, absolutely. Okay, so Kami dashboard, you can bring things in from OneDrive, Google Drive, your computer, and you can even browse through the library. You can start from a blank page. And if you're new, there's some help documents down on the bottom, getting started with Kami or doing a tutorial. And we are going to start with a topic already. And to make life easier, Kami has provided some templates for us. So I'm going to be thinking in my head what my topic is while I look for some templates. So when I bring it down, I can see I have lots of templates and they have been updating them. I see we have some new stuff. Now you could browse and go down this rabbit hole and spend forever looking, or you could be more efficient with your time. We're doing notes. So I'm just going to write in notes and see what I get, because that's probably a logical place to start. And look, here's some examples of digital notebooks. That looks amazing, but not what I'm envisioning. Remember, I'm doing 6 kingdoms of living organisms in our world, and that doesn't really lend itself to that.
Okay. So I see some really great, like that Cornell notes right there, the lined piece of paper. Why aren't you using that? Because we're taking notes.
Well, I want to be able to chunk my stuff into basically 6 categories. And what I see right now doesn't really do a good job of that. So I think I'm going to narrow my field down. What do you think I should use here?
Let's try looking for storyboards.
And let's see what we get when we do that. Did I spell? I got one thing.
You did.
I think I got one thing. Well, at least it's compartmentalized into categories, but that's not what I was looking for. Let me change it up a little bit. Storyboards did not yield my results that I wanted. I'm going to change it to vision board, and I'm going to make it singular instead. See if that makes a difference. Okay, so I got different things, and I think I like the layout of these. It looks like it does a good job of chunking information. This one here has enough boxes, but I'm not super excited about the fact that they're black boxes. But I'm going to go ahead and flag it in case I have an idea. So I bookmarked it. I've saved it to my templates. So next time I can come up here and I can look at my collections. But I don't like the fact that I want my kids to be drawing on a black surface because it kind of limits the way they draw. However, to the left, look what we have here. Looky look. I have a graphic that has a bigger space for general notes and another one right here. And look, it's chunked into separate information. But I'm pretty sure that's not 6 little boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's not going to quite meet my needs, but it's like, I really like it. So I'm going to download this little sucker and going to pretend that we're totally doing it with you right now. And I'm going to rebuild it somewhere else. Look at that. Look how fast I am.
It's magic.
It is magic. We totally did prepare for this ahead of time. We're totally doing this right now. Actually, no, we did plan for this ahead of time, obviously. So look at this. We added that extra little box in there. And now Google Slides, if that's your jam, here you go. If you're a Canva fan, do we have Canva fans out there?
Always.
Of course. And look, it's the same thing. It took like 30 seconds to edit this, bring it in, edit it. And of course, PowerPoint as well. We can't leave good old Microsoft out. And once again, there's my 6th little box that I have in place, and that makes it very easy for me. But there's a reason why I picked those 3 tools or those 3 apps. What, Ryan, is the reason?
I know the answer to this one. Okay.
She even raised her hand. Look at her.
Wait, Miss, I know. God.
Yes, Ryan, share with class.
I'm like the Hermione Granger here. Anyways, Cami, in the upper right-hand corner, see right there's a Cami button. If you click it, it'll pop it out into Cami. If you go into Canva, but Canva looks a little different.
Okay, let's look. Wait, there it is. It took a second. Okay.
Woo. Okay, so in Canva, you have to go to the share button, and then if you scroll down just a wee bit, you're gonna see a Cami circle, and it says "Open with Cami," and boom, there it is.
Boom.
That's why we like
look,
these 3.
The box is no longer movable. It's part of the background image, which is why we didn't want to actually build this in Cami. You might be wondering, well, why didn't you just add the box in Cami? Because I want it as a non-movable part of the background. That's why I did that. Okay, now last one.
Oh, yep, there's one more. Boom, Cami. I like it.
And they're
it
all
works.
in Cami. Now I want to convert to a new file, so I'm going to click convert. And there it is. Okay, so the reason why I opened all 3 is because I wanted to show you something. I have it in my drive, and you can see the little symbol for Google. And in Canva, it's in my drive, in Google. And in Google, you will find these in the Cami uploads. And then in PowerPoint, it's a little bit different. This one lands in OneDrive, but it's still a PowerPoint file. And you can see this one's a PDF file. It converted it into a different type of file. And from PowerPoint, and it might be because it's just a new application or a new add-in that they had in right now. Maybe it's not totally finished, but it didn't create that. So once I have it all ready to go, I am going to need, if I use this from the PowerPoint that I created, I am actually going to have to share it and export it, put it where I'm going to put it and export it so that I can actually create the file that I want. So we're going to close out a few of these because now, although I don't normally get overwhelmed with a zillion tabs, but I know that people get a little twitchy when I have a ton of tabs. So we're going to use this one
like me.
here.
I was about to call you out, like, girl, close them.
Okay, yes, close them. I'm going to close them. Here is my file right here that I'm going to use. It is not ready to go to my class. I want my students to work independently on this assignment. And in order for kids to work independently, the most critical thing that I need to add to this document is
instructions.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. I can put the instructions in a text box, or I can actually, and I'm going to close my video down for just a moment. I can create a video recording of my directions to my students. It makes that personal connection. And there's something about saying directions and seeing somebody say them to you that makes a more impactful response from your students. So I'm going to click on the left side. I have comment. And I have my video comment. And over here, notice it creates crosshairs and moving on the top of my screen. I'm just going to put a little dot up here. And I'm going to read to my students, or I'm going to say to my students the directions that I want them to say. So it's going to populate. Today, I am going to have each of you use your sketchnoting skills to describe how living things are grouped. Watch the video below and jot down and illustrate your key ideas. Be sure to pause the video as you need to and even slow it down. You will also need to put a title on your notes. Click done. And there's my video directions. And don't get all hung up on how you look. As you can see, I got a green screen back there.
That's bananas.
Oh, it is bananas. Absolutely. So let's turn
your kids will probably totally be like, Miss, why do you have a green screen?
Well,
so,
I don't always have a green screen.
Then that way, at least like, awesome, you heard my directions. You noticed I have a green screen behind me.
Yes, at least they're paying attention. So I have my directions in there. This is still not ready to go. So I have the directions for my students. I have the assignment, but I don't have the content in the assignment. It's really important for you to think about if there's ways of putting the content in the same place where your students are going to be interacting. So interacting the content and gaining the information in the same place is important for connecting that learning to our students. Because if you've been a teacher long enough, you know exactly what happens when kids click a link and go outside of the place where they're supposed to be working. Can't imagine what that would be. What would that be?
They'd go bananas.
They definitely go bananas, and they take the bananas and they take the bananas in rabbit holes.
We really got to work on our mom jokes. We got to start a new trend.
Okay. Next time we do a presentation ride, we're actually going to have a script of jokes so that we can come across a little more effective.
That's concerning.
Okay. Now, I'm curious to see if we have any responses in our YouTube land. Do we have any questions for us before we move on to our next step?
We don't have questions, but they're enjoying our goofiness,
Oh,
which is
well,
like
hey,
typical us.
bonus for lame. Okay, so
Hey,
we have
we're consistent.
yes, we are consistent with this. So we're going to be totally consistent the whole way through. So we have our document and we want to be able to put in our information. So in here, because I'm totally not going to spend your time looking for a YouTube video that I'm going to add in there, because I completely have that ready to go. And I have two ways of adding video content to my document. And I'm going to talk about each of them separately and show them how to do separately. So under the add media, I can click on the YouTube. And I'm going to paste my link in here and give it a second. There it is. Now you can see that I have the option to actually trim my video, keeping in mind that our students have attention spans that are sometimes challenging. And if you have been teaching as long as I have, you know that is not new. Our kids have always tuned us out. So it's important to make sure that our videos are between 2 and 5 minutes, if at all possible. For younger kids, probably closer to the 2, and older kids, you can probably get closer to the 5. Now, as it happens, I've already watched this video. I know that its rigor is on target for my student, Miss Ryan over here, who thinks kingdoms include King Charles. And I have the length, which is within 2 minutes and 28 seconds. And I know that it aligns perfectly with my curriculum that I'm aligning. I don't need to trim it. So with that, I am going to click Insert. And notice I can move it around and put it wherever I want. The good thing to note that my students can move it too. So if it's in the way, they can move it. Now, when you're putting your video in, I did part of my directions say that I want you to be able to change your own settings in the video. So therefore, it's important when you put your video in that you make sure that you allow for settings. So the only settings that's visible right now is closed caption. So I'm going to make it a little bigger and notice my other settings come in. This allows my students to control the playback speed. Some of our students process information very quickly, and if you don't give them the option to be able to increase their speed, they actually check out the information and check back in, and then they have to back it up. Your students will know what their listening rate is. Some of our students need to go slower, especially if they're drawing while they're listening. So that allows them to be able to adhere to what their needs are. Also allowing for closed captioning. And I'm going to once again make sure I have it lined up where I want. Oops, hold on. So I can move it where I want if I am not happy with it, and now I am. Now there's a limitation to this, and we did let Tammy know, and they said that they're going to look into this, is that when I'm zooming in my document or I'm moving the video, it restarts each time. So there is an issue with having it there. So you may want to put a second option for your students. And personally for me, I would actually put both options and let my students choose. My second option for adding video content into the document is actually to click on comment and the text. And here's why you want text. Once again, see how crosshairs on the right side of my screen. Up near the top, I'm going to click and I'm going to have a little comment come in. So I still have my YouTube link, Control V, and click enter. And there's my YouTube video again. However, this isn't a perfect fix either because the closed captioning doesn't come in unless I pop it out full screen. And then my kids are toggling between 2 different screens. So you can, if the kids need closed captioning or the speed variations, then they'll need this option. If the kids get frustrated by the fact that the video restarts, then they have this option. But here's what's cool about this. I can move this video up and down as I'm working. So it stays right with me while I am continuing my activity. Now, I think we are ready to go. Worth noting is that you can click on the plus side and you can add in more content to it. For instance, maybe you want your students to be able to connect the 6 kingdoms to biomes that they've learned or whatever. But I think I'm ready to go. So let's send it to my students. Now, in our district, we use Schoology, so I'm going to model that. But what I'm showing you right now actually works just like it does in other applications, Canva or whatever your district or you personally use in your classroom. And if you have been with us with Cami, you will know that typically we have in the past added an assignment and we've added it through Cami. Internet, come on, don't fail me now. All right, well, I'm going to discourage you. I'm just going to wait for it to load and just tell you, I'm going to discourage you from using the assignment part for, now it's unresponsive. Oh, wow. Oh, there it is. Okay, you can assign it with Cami, but I'm going to discourage you from using this as an assignment because as soon as you assign a grade to something where students are processing and putting their opinions and their interpretation, it becomes a risk. And then their activity becomes more about what do you want me to write down? What's the right answer? And if you don't assign a grade to that, you eliminate that limitation for your students processing and interacting with it. So here's another option, add materials, and instead go ahead and click on this app right here. So I click on Cami and oh, that loaded quickly, yay. Now you can pull it out. I put it in the Google Drive. You can pull it out of the Google Drive. If you use the OneDrive, you can put it there, or you're just going to upload it straight from your computer, but we built it in Cami. So we're going to pull it from our Cami. So I'm going to click on it. And almost everything, unless you move it, is going to live in the Cami uploads and from Google Drive anyway. So I'm clicking on it and there's my task. I'm selecting it and you can see that it pulled through. Now, assignment settings, something worth noting. It disappeared. Oh, I'm going to say, hold on, there we go. Assessment settings. If you click the assessment mode, it means your kids will not be able to interact with it after they turn it into you. So again, don't check that because we want this to be a living document between you and your students. Now you do have options for control features. If you are clicking the control features, you may want to leave them all on, especially if your kids are older. But if you have younger kids or you find that some of this stuff is going to be distracting to them, maybe you might want to limit what they can actually use in the document. But for my kids, I'm leaving them all on and I am going to click OK. So now I'm going to click continue. Okay, so now I have my task placed right in there and it's ready to go. And that means I think mic drop, we're done, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
so what do you want to do then? What do you want to do?
I want to draw. I want to doodle.
Of course she wants to draw, but you know what? I think we need to do attendance first. So let's do that first. And
okay.
There it is. If you're in district, please do the top link, which is the EdTech Live, capitalized CFISD. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be dropping that into the chat for you to click and go. And out of district, you have the EdTech Live and the capital visitor. We're not going to spell that because I'm going to trip over that.
Yeah,
And
you've been struggling spelling visitor the past few days.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, your code is sketchy. I really think that this whole presentation is a little bit sketchy.
Maybe. I mean, I know we're about to get a little sketchy in a good way because we're going to doodle.
Yeah, Ryan is a very sketchy person.
Hey.
You look sketchy. Okay, how are we doing with any questions? I'm getting a little lonely right here.
I think we're doing okay.
We have lots of comments. Come on, guys, give us a few questions. Test our knowledge of Cami.
To an extent, please.
And if we don't know the answer, there's probably somebody in the chat that knows the answer.
Or we have become really good friends with the amazing Avra, who happened to come on, I think, EdTech Live last year and helped us out with Cami. She's been really great at like, oh, that's a good question. Let me find out.
Yes, so we'll definitely rely on all of that if we can't answer your questions. We got hearts. Does
Absolutely.
that count for questions?
Do what?
I'm gonna give myself a heart.
Good job.
There we go. Giving myself a heart. There it is. Okay, I think it's been a minute. So since we're doing kingdoms and I am sitting here with the Queen Doodler, I'm going to let her take this away, and it's all yours.
Awesome. You want to stop sharing your screen?
Oh,
Because that desktop is making my eye twitch.
oh, really?
It might be organized, but oh my goodness, no. Not organized enough for me. No. All right. So I don't know if I'm the queen of sketch notes, but I love them. And there's a reason why. So there is actually a lot of research about why sketch notes benefit learners. And that means you as a learner too, not just your students. So here's a really great graphic that kind of explains what sketch notes are, why they're great. So sketch notes is the act of using visuals, purposeful, not just like vines and flowers off in the sides. And I'm speaking from experience. I am extremely sorry to my like senior high school English teacher. That's what I did. My bad. But purposeful images that go along with the information that your students are reading, they are listening to, it makes the connection stronger as opposed to just listening to it. So why is that a thing? Because we actually take in 90% of our daily information, the data that we're processing visually. Our eyes are doing the majority of the work. Because of this, when we take in information visually, plus we're hearing it and we're writing it down, if we add a visual representation of what we're hearing of that information, we're actually increasing our retention by 65%. That's big. And then on the other side, I mean, just because I think I'm going back to my senior year of high school here, when I was doodling off in the sides or I was writing verbatim, whatever my teacher was saying, I wasn't really engaged.
But I thought compliance was engaged. You were totally compliant.
You're right. No, I wasn't even compliant when I was doodling off in the sides. I just wasn't paying attention. So here's where sketch notes helps. Your students can go from compliant to authentically engaged, because in order to come up with that purposeful and meaningful visual representation, you actually have to be listening and processing the information. So jumping from compliance to engaged, that's a good thing, right? It's where we want our kids. We want them to be engaged and not just compliant. Okay, so
grades are compliance. Engagement comes from activities.
Yes. And this is where we are actually going to be, our students are going to be interacting with the information, but then also it opens a door for you as a teacher, and you are my teacher today, opens the door for you as the teacher to continue the learning and continue that conversation that your students are having with the content. So we've been a little weird already this morning. Let's just keep it going. So I'm going to explain what it is you're about to witness and what it is you're about to see. I have a student Chromebook right here with me. I am going to share my screen on that Chromebook so you can actually see my drawings. But then I'm going to turn my camera, so I have a document cam, around to look at that screen so you can actually see what my hands are doing.
So we're going to have a moment of earthquake. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I sincerely apologize.
Okay, hold on. We're going to get a 7.0 on the Richter scale, guys.
All right.
That was actually pretty smooth. I'm very impressed.
Well, I haven't, changed my Chromebook yet. My Chromebook's not quite there. Give it a second.
Okay, want me to sing for you again?
All right.
There she is. So we're looking at your Chromebook, correct?
Yes. So you are on the screen right now. The screen that I'm sharing is actually my Chromebook screen. And then you see my hands right here. So when I move the screen, woo, isn't that trippy and weird? That's fun. But then you're also going to see what I click on because I don't have a mouse. You're going to see my hands drawing and clicking and doing all the things. So here I am in Schoology as a student. I'm going to click on this assignment that Miss Tamara or Miss Ferguson or Teach
Or bruh.
or that too, that works too, that she assigned to me through Schoology. Now, your students do have, you gonna start singing for me, Miss? Because, oh, there it goes. Okay. Your students do have the ability to click this little button over here in the upper right-hand corner, and it will pop them out into a new window, and they can have Kami full screen. However, I am going to keep this within Schoology, so that way I have less tabs and it's just less going on my screen. So usually when you open up Kami, your menu bar will be over here to the left. Now I am a right-handed person. Having my tools over here to the left, having to go across my screen to select something, I run the risk of accidentally making a mark somewhere on my screen, and I don't want to do that. So down here at the bottom of my toolbar, I'm going to click on the little button, and it's going to throw my menu and all of my tools over to the right-hand side of my screen. So when I zoom out, there's my lovely teacher's instructions. Here are my two options for the videos that I can watch. Now, there are some really cool things that I want to show about the teacher instructions. I can click play.
Today, I am going to have each of you use your sketch
the
notes.
wonderful Miss Tamara. Now, if I click on these three dots over here, I can change the playback speed for my teacher. I can bump her up or slow her down, but then I can also do picture in picture. So you'll see where my hands are. You don't actually see it floating on my screen, but I can move my teacher's instructions anywhere I want on this screen, and that's really helpful. But I'm actually going to put her back into the little tab off to the side. And I'm going to make sure I have my select tool on because I am going to move my video for the day up to the top. So I'm going to click on the little video and drag him up to the top. I'm going to click on my teacher's instructions and drag those to the bottom. And now they have flipped. So the first thing that I need to add to this document, to my sketch note, is a title. So I'm going to select text box and I'm going to write Earth's, there we go, 6 kingdoms, because that is the title that I'm going to use for this sketch note. Okay. Then I'm going to select my drawing tool and I can change the color. I love all the colors that Kami gives us. I can also change the size of that pen. So I can either have that pen really small or take up a whole lot of space. I'm going to settle on size 1. And then I'm going to come over here to my video and click play.
Kingdoms. All life on Earth.
So I'm actually going to turn the volume of the video off. I'm going to mute it because it gets really weird if you hear the video playing and me talking. So we don't want to get that weird. Okay, so the first one that we're going to be looking at is plant. So when it gets to plant, I am going to pause my video. And I'm going to come to my drawing, make sure I have the color that I want, and I'm going to write plant right here in my first box. Okay, click play. I see trees and a cactus. Oh, there's a plant cell. Okay, so I'm actually going to work on that doodle of a plant cell. And plant cells are rectangular.
Ish.
Ish.
Yeah, good enough.
Good enough. Okay. So again, just like I was saying, I'm actually going to change the width of that pen because I don't have a filling tool here within Cami, so I can't quickly and easily like drag a color over to color. But I don't want to spend so much time coloring in a big spot or a big box. Then I'm going to change it back to 1. No, I'm going to push my tools off to the side. I'm going to click play again. I went too far. There we go. Now, Ms. Ferguson.
Yes.
Is that a decent representation of a plant cell?
I'm going to put that in the good enough category.
It's good enough. I, as a drawer, as the doodler, know what this is. So I'm actually going to write plant cell here. And that's kind of one of the main benefits of sketch notes, of being a doodler, is my teacher, other people who see them don't necessarily have to know what they are, but I do. And then I know from the video that plants equal autotrophs. And then I'm going to draw a flower and the sun. So there's my flower. Now you do not have to be, this is the big thing that students have always said, but Miss, I can't draw. Y'all, you do not have to be an artist to reap the benefits of sketch notes, because I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I can't really draw either. I have basic shapes because all of these right now that I've used so far have been circles or rectangles. I got the basic shapes down, and yet I now have a plant cell, I have a flower, and the sun. Okay, so I can move on to my next box. I'm going to come back up to the top and select my selecting tool. I'm going to move that video down again just a little bit. I'm going to work in this box now for my next section, which is animals. Go back to my black ink, make sure my pen is set to the size that I want, and I'm going to write animal. No. Okay, and come back and click play. So I see a bear. Ooh, and a fish. So I'm just going to go ahead and start working on my little bear icon that I'm going to draw. There's 2 ears. There's his face. Let's do the inside of his ears, a different color. I'm going to pause my video. Zoom in. Here are his eyes. Nose. Mouth.
I think it's worth noting, as Ryan is drawing, is that her hands are touching the screen, and notice that it's not making extra marks on there, which is really nice because her palm is on there. And sometimes in some applications when you're drawing, you actually have all these stray marks because you keep touching the screen in other places. And that's one of the things that I like about Cami, is it seems to know the difference between when you're drawing and when you're touching the screen.
I think it also helps, Ms. Ferguson, that I have a stylus.
Absolutely.
Because our Chromebooks do recognize the stylus, and that's what I'm working with. So I have a bear and a spider now, but I need to write. I still have something else to write and draw here. So I'm going to use the select annotations tool. I'm going to draw a box around all of my annotations. And now look at that. I can move them all together. And I can move them out of the way so that I can come back in and draw the animal cell. Whee!
Now, what would happen, Ryan, if you had something that you drew in the wrong place and you needed to move it?
So I would actually do that selecting tool that I just did, and I would move it to where I wanted it to go.
What if it was just one item though, and not the whole thing?
Then I would just use my select tool right here, and I can select, look, there's my little spider body. Oh no.
That's a little weird.
I know, I'm sorry. I probably should have just, look, here's my little spider leg.
Okay, you know what they say about people pull legs off spiders?
No, because I'm terrified of spiders, so I'm not one of those people.
We have a question. We have our first question of the day. I'm super excited. Megan asks us a question. She goes, every time you move the screen or zoom in, are you having to deselect your tool?
Deselect
Question,
my tool.
Megan.
That's a really good question. Let me read it to make sure I understand. Deselect. So like if I'm changing, when you say deselect my tool, go from drawing to select to move my annotations. That's what I'm gonna guess is the question. Yes. So I have to make sure I have my selecting tool on in order to move annotations. And that poor little spider is just losing legs. I am so sorry, little spider. Megan, if that was not the correct answer, or if that wasn't the question you were really asking, let me know, and I will try and understand it better and do better with that. So then my final little words that I want to write on here, make sure I have the correct pen. So animals are heterotrophs. It's multicellular. I can zoom out. And I can keep working on this sketch note, again, moving my video around. Oh no, see, select, I need to select. I can move my video around to where I want it on, nope, grab, there we go, on the side.
So
now it's closer down to the bottom.
We have
Yes,
some
ma'am.
clarification. She's asking us to change the zoom. So if you want to change the zoom, can you do it in the drawing tool and just use 2 fingers and spread?
Yes, so I can zoom in and zoom out without having to change my tool from drawing to select or anything like that. If I want to select annotations and move them around my screen, then I absolutely have to be in the selecting tool. But as far as just moving my screen around, no, I can stay on my drawing tool and do that at the same time.
And what about moving the screen up?
So over here off to the side, which is one of the main reasons why I kept it within Schoology, is I still have my scroll bar on my web page on that browser. So I can move my screen up or down and it doesn't affect what's going on in Cami.
All right, that is awesome. So are we ready to have the teacher Teach look at it?
Yeah, Teach, you want to look at my work?
I do. I want to see what Ryan has been up to. Do you think Ryan has been compliant or engaged? Let's find out.
Yeah, let's please.
All right. So I'm jumping back over to my Schoology, and I can see that this was the assignment that Ryan was actually working in. Correct, Ryan? It was the second one you picked?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
But as it happens, because we knew that we wanted to show you what it would look like completed, we did this ahead of time. So I'm going to open up the one that we did ahead of time so you can have a better view what it looks like with multiple assignments. Now, again, not opening the grader because we want this to be an example of a conversation between students. So we're going to use the open the class view. It is also worth noting that, let's say first period comes and goes and you're like, and that did not give me what I wanted. We have a document that's a little messed up. Let me fix it before second period comes in or the next group of kids. You can edit it right here, and the changes are live for the kids that are coming in. They will have a better document. You can actually change it in the moment as well. Okay, so I have my open the class view. So I'm going to open this document or in this button right here. And what will happen is I will see all of my students that have clicked on the document. And down in the bottom, if I scroll down, I have a little slider. Do you see this little slider? It allows me, let me move up just a little bit. It allows me to move from student document to student document. So right now I have 2 documents in there. And I have Kelly Pop-Tart's document. And who's the other document that I have?
I think it was the one that oh, nope, that's Rodney.
That's Rodney. That's okay. We have something to work with. We can work with this. So I have Rodney's document. Rodney is not engaged, but Kelly Pop-Tart, look at her. She just went all to town here. And I can engage with my student in real time. So if I have my student sitting with me, maybe we have small group instruction or I'm conferencing with my student, or maybe I just happen to be passing by. Whatever the case may be, I can do this with my student in the moment where they're on the document with me. Or if I'm checking this and my students have already gone to the other class, I can engage with them by creating notes for them, and they will see it when they come back on. The process is pretty much the same, but we're going to pretend that Ryan's sitting right here. We're doing small group instruction, and we're going to pretend that Ryan is Kelly Pop-Tart right now. And I am going to see that Ryan identified, or Kelly Pop-Tart identified, that the plan is an autotroph. But I'm not entirely convinced that she knows what that means because I don't see any indication on here. So I'm sitting here with Ryan. Ryan, are you on Kelly Pop-Tart's document or should I move to a different document?
I'm about to jump onto that document.
Okay, so while she's jumping onto that document, I am going to go ahead and notice that I need to let her know. So I'm going to click on the drawing tool. Notice that I'm still inside of Schoology. I'm clicking on the drawing tool and I'm going to write a little note. I want to make sure that my pen is not giant. Okay, it's at 1, that's fine. So I'm going to write in here that, ooh, that's the wrong color. Let's pick green. So photosynthesis. Synthesis. Ooh, I got it to fit in there. So I wrote in there photosynthesis. So I wrote a little note in there. And while I'm sitting here with Kelly Pop-Tart, are you in there yet, Kelly Pop-Tart?
Give me like 1 minute. Sorry, I had to log out of mine, log into her.
Yeah, she's doing a lot. I can jump, if it's easier, I can jump over to the other document we're just on.
Nope, too late. I'm already getting in.
Okay, she's already getting in. Now, if I go from document to document and I see a lot of kids didn't put photosynthesis in there, I can make my life easier. Instead of writing out photosynthesis, I can actually create a little notation for myself that I can paste into each one of these documents to make life a little easier. Let me show you how to do that while Ryan's still popping in. I can create a text box and I'm going to just drop it right here. And I'm going to write in there photosynthesis. Okay, biology people, don't shoot me.
Are you having difficulty spelling there, Miss Ferguson?
No, I just called it food energy, but whatever. Okay, so I have my little note, and see this little box right here? This allows me to add it to my annotation bank. So if this is a common misconception that's coming up between my students, I've added it, I've confirmed it, and then I can see that I have that in this little filing box right here. And I can see all my annotations. And this list of annotations allows me to see not only what I want to add in for specific students, but it kind of gives me a running record of what my students are needing help with. And I can use this as a follow-up. Man, I had a lot of students that missed out understanding how photosynthesis applied to autotrophs. And all I have to do to add this in there is I can just take it and drag that little sucker in. And you can see that my little, let me click select two for a second. I can see that my note is now there for my students to get as a reflection for them to follow up. So I can do it by handwriting, or I can create annotations and add them in. But I think Kelly Pop-Tart is back in here with me. Do I have that right, Kelly?
No, but we can pretend.
We can pretend. Okay, so if Kelly was actually in this with me, I could talk to her about photosynthesis. And what would Kelly do if she was actually in this document with me?
So what I would do is I would draw an arrow between the sun and the flower and write food.
Absolutely, and that would kind of ease my worry that Ryan hasn't got that understanding put in place. So we have this all put in here, and it's a living document between me and my student. That is the difference between making dynamic notes that can be continuously added to versus static notes.
Yes, so it's actually that living conversation between student and teacher. And this is also a really low stakes way for me as a student to be like, yeah, I didn't really understand that. Especially if I'm in a small group with my teacher, it's not, I have 28 of my peers looking at me and being like, oh, she doesn't get it, because then I wouldn't be Hermione and I would just keep my hand down, just not going to answer anything. But in a small group with my teacher, knowing that we're looking at this document together and we're talking about it together, that means that I have a little bit more confidence in what I can say to my teacher or what I can ask at that time.
And on that note, we have showed you today how you can create an assignment inside of Kami by app smashing with other applications. If it doesn't quite meet your needs, pulling it in through Kami. Then we showed you how you can build in student directions so kids can work independently while you are working with students in another fashion, so your kids can engage with the content. And basically you can create inquiry-based assignments this way as well, something to think about. Then
yes.
we showed then we showed you how to throw it in Schoology, and then Miss Queen.
Then I took over and we doodled for a little bit, and I showed you guys some sketchnoting fun that you can do within Kami. But I've also created a little resource for you guys that they're going to share the link for it in the chat. So here are, if you're new to Sketchnotes and you're like, what is this thing? Why should I consider using it in my classroom? Here are some resources. There are some articles in here that explain the benefits of visual note-taking. There are some videos in here that kind of show you how to get started with sketchnoting. And then I am also going to add our YouTube, our EdTech Live into this resource as well for you guys. So I believe they have put that in the chat. It is bit.ly/sketch, capital S, and Kami, capital K. So we definitely, I think we messed with Kami a lot.
I think we broke it a few times too.
There were things where it was like, oh, that's not working like I wanted to. And so we would reach out to Kami and they're like, oh, that's really awesome that you noticed that. So we have, in the past, we've looked at Kami as a really great tool to use in your classroom for interactive activities and having that digital workspace with your students. Here is just another new way that you could incorporate this tool in your classroom with your students. And I feel like they're pretty familiar with Kami. They might be pretty comfortable with it, that the idea of sketchnotes, adding that new skill to it, this could be a great way to do digital sketchnotes in your classroom.
Absolutely. And we have a question that just popped in the nick of time. Look at that. Woo! Angela asks, is the comment box attached to the document or the user? I can see using these over and over across documents. So let me answer that in two different ways. Once I create a text box inside a person's document, it's attached to that document. But if I add it to that file folder, I can put it in the annotations bank. So it lives there, but I can drag it into a new document, and then that additional comment, even though it's a copy of the original, lives in that second document. So it creates like a copy of it in the annotation bank, if that answers your question. And Megan says you were editing Cami Doc in Schoology, but can students access it in their Google Drive too? Yes, they can. I'm not entirely sure which folder it's in. Do you know the answer to that? I think it might be Cami Schoology. Do you
I feel
know?
like there's so anytime the student has created or the teacher has created a Cami document in Schoology, there's a folder that's magically created in your student's Google Drive, and it should say either Cami Uploads or Cami SGY, and students can click on that.
Great answer. Okay, so this wraps up the end of our EdTech Live for today, but that is not the end of EdTech Live, not at all. We do have another event in February 24 on February 24.
No, y'all, we did not do that on purpose. We just realized it the other day. We were like, man, we made that easy.
Yeah, 24. We'll see you then.
2/24/24.
Yes, 2/24/24. That's a great date. You guys will never forget it now. April 11th, if you're inside of our school district, we have Student EdTech Expo. For those of you outside, you're like, well, what is that? That is when we have our students showcase how they use technology in the classroom. So we invite teachers out there, if your students are using Cami in an engaging way, or maybe something that really showcases how technology is using, feel free to have your kids participate in that. We'd love to see them. And then, of course, summer is our huge event, which is DLC. That'll be July 31st and August 1st. And we look forward to seeing all of you at our next events. Yay!
Yes, and thank y'all so much for joining us today on a Saturday for our first EdTech Live of the year. We truly appreciate y'all taking the time out of your day to learn some really fantastic EdTech tools that you can take back to your classroom. So thanks again, and we will see y'all